Rapid equity loan program at Loan Pronto is amazing. One Loan Pronto client just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. They paid off debt, renovated the kitchen, and cut their monthly expenses by $1,800. That's a huge turnaround. Loan Pronto, instant approvals, low rates, no hard credit pull up front. Listen, your home equity is yours. Use it. Get cash to consolidate your debt down to one easy low monthly payment. Call Loan Pronto now for a free instant appraisal for your home and see how much cash you can get today. Loan Pronto is A+ rated by the BBB and have nearly 2,500 five-star Google reviews. Their service is off the charts. Call now to start the conversation. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. 919-381-1760. Get debt relief now. loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender. NMLS 166171 on approved credit. NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
You're listening to The Adam Gold Show.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is it. That's why we just did a one-year deal. Steelers didn't need to, put any extra years on that or anything. So, this was really about finishing with a lot of love for the career that I've had. I played 20 freaking years. It's been a long run. I've enjoyed it. And what better place to finish than in one of the cornerstone franchises of the NFL with Mike Tomlin and a great group of leadership and great guys in the city that expects you to win.
Ended his career as a bit of a journey. But there's tonight a lot of guys going to be starting their professional careers. The NBA draft is tonight, Victoria.
I know.
I'm excited. They're splitting it up over 2 days. We get the first round today and the second round tomorrow. Like, people care about the second round of the NBA draft. Nobody but hey, cares. You know what? Made for television, right?
Yeah. Well, there's nothing else going on.
Exactly. You literally just stole the words out of my mouth. There's nothing else going on right now. So you know what? Let's just do 2 days of a draft.
Have at it.
Why not? NHL does 2 days of a draft. They have 7 rounds.
Yes.
They do the first round, which will be this Friday, and then on Saturday, rounds 2 through 7. And they just fire like hotcakes. Like, they start in the morning too. It's just like every 5 minutes, boom, here's a name, here's a name, here's a name. Done. Done. I like it that way. Yeah. Personally. It's the Adam Gold Show. Dennis Cox sitting in for Adam Gold this afternoon. One of the guys that might be drafted tonight, possibly, if not tonight, it's definitely going to be tomorrow, is Drake Powell, North Carolina guard. We're actually going to have his high school coach joining us here in about 15 minutes, Matt Brown, just to kind of see the progression of just a little bit more insight on who Drake Powell is. Also, Brenden Whitted is going to join us at 12:30. Talk some NBA draft. Charlotte Hornets pick at number 4. And a Duke player might be the pick at number 4.
Maybe.
Might be. Also, Chip Patterson on Wednesday. Even though Adam Gold's not here, we still get Chip Patterson on a Wednesday. And also at 2:15, folks, make sure you stay locked in. There's been a lot of rumors around the NHL regarding the Vegas Golden Knights potentially going after Mitch Marner in free agency. But are they going to potentially offload one of their players to make some cap space? Well, we've heard a lot of connections between Vegas Golden Knights and the Carolina Hurricanes. Someone who's plugged in with the Golden Knights, an insider out there in Vegas that covers the Golden Knights as a team, is going to join us at 2:15. But until then, Victoria, let's get this sucker started. As I mentioned, NBA draft is tonight and tomorrow night, but round 1 is tonight. So by all accounts, Victoria, Cooper Flagg's going to go number 1 in the draft to the Dallas Mavericks. And if he doesn't, I think all of us would be stunned.
Yeah, even Vegas.
Yes.
He's probably like a minus 18 million.
I actually will look here in just a moment. But he's going to be joining a team of the Dallas Mavericks that, let's be honest, if it wasn't for the injuries with Kyrie Irving late in the season last year, they were pushing for a playoff spot. Now, granted, there's a whole Luka Doncic trade and everything that goes on with that, but that's another conversation. But Cooper Flagg, by all accounts, being drafted by Dallas number 1 overall. He's going to be joining a team that's pretty loaded in the front court already. Got former Duke big man Derek Lively II, Daniel Gafford, whom they just paid a contract extension to. Anthony Davis is there, part of that Luka Doncic trade. Former Charlotte Hornet P.J. Washington also up there. And Cooper Flagg, by all accounts, and there's also North Carolina native Caleb Martin is also on that team as a backup small forward. By all accounts, Cooper Flagg, excuse me, I'm getting choked up thinking about that.
I know, you're just excited.
I really am. And Cooper Flagg, by all accounts, with Dallas, could just slide in as the number 3 right away. I mean, gosh, with Kyrie Irving, speaking of, dealing with the ACL injury, he's trying to come back by January, I think is the intent, but obviously to be determined. We'll see.
Sure.
But, I mean, with Kyrie Irving out, yes, they have Spencer Dinwiddie and Max Christie, Klay Thompson, these guys at guards, but, I mean, why not put the ball in Cooper Flagg's hands? Make him a point forward. Mm-hmm. Make him a point forward. Why not? At least until Kyrie. At least until Kyrie comes back. But, I mean, overall, like, he's going to a pretty good team, and number one overall picks generally don't go to good teams right away. And I think Dallas might be a good spot for him. Now, speaking of, hey, put the ball in his hands, right? Could be a small forward right away. Cooper Flagg actually did talk about how, he does try to model his game after Larry Bird.
I think just the general answer would just be his grit and the way and how hard he played. I don't think there's ever been somebody that played as hard as him all the time and just was as good of a teammate as he was. So that's kind of somebody that I tried to emulate my game after, of just playing every possession to 100% and just doing all the little things that it takes to win.
Having watched Flagg play in person several times and watching pretty much every Duke game this past year, the dude has a motor. Yeah. He really does. He really does have a motor, and he's a really unselfish player. He really is. And to think that he turned 18 during the season this past year. He was supposed to be a high school senior last year.
Yeah. And that's also really rare, too, it feels like, in the NBA for unselfish players to be a thing. I mean, talented and unselfish players.
We'll dive actually that here in just a second, actually a little bit, about that same type deal. But yeah, he's super unselfish player, loves celebrating his teammates. You can genuinely see that when watching him play, especially seeing it in person. And to Cooper Flagg, he said on SiriusXM NBA that it doesn't matter if it's Dallas or wherever that drafts him.
Just any situation, my mindset is always going to be to go into a game and, do whatever I can to help a team win. That's just who I am and, kind of the DNA and the way I think about things. So, wherever I end up and however it shakes out, people can say that. And I'm not even going to speak on it because I'm just going to let it happen tomorrow night and, we'll see what happens. But I think it's just who I am of, just being a competitor and wanting to win all the time. And this is going to be my mindset whatever happens.
Victoria, there's a evil, sick, twisted part of me that, for example, this also might just be my pro wrestling fandom, that the Dallas Mavericks, their general manager, Nico Harrison, just leans into being the bad guy, being the heel, and doesn't draft Cooper Flagg, cuts a full promo on the fans, goes full Mr. McMahon, saying, hey, you know what? You guys aren't worthy of Cooper Flagg because y'all treated me like crap after the Luka Doncic trade. Y'all treated me badly. Well, guess what? Y'all don't deserve it. I like this. There's a sick, evil, twisted part of me that actually wishes
spice to
that.
it.
Yeah, you know what? If that happened, if Dallas doesn't take Cooper Flagg, San Antonio is falling over themselves, stumbling up to the podium.
Oh yeah.
And I'm just gonna jump in front of Adam Silver and say, we're taking Cooper Flagg.
Yeah,
number
we got
2.
Coop.
We're gonna
Coop.
say it right now.
Right here. Yep.
Just falling over themselves to do that. Golly, could you imagine Cooper Flagg and Victor Wembanyama on the same team?
Wow.
Goodness. Speaking of the draft and Duke players, let's go to the second thing here. Well, I guess it's the fourth because it's the 4th overall pick for the Charlotte Hornets. Now, speaking of betting odds, Victoria, the betting favorite, depending on what sports book you look at, the betting favorite is actually Duke guard Con Knippel to go 4th overall.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed watching Con Knippel play this past season. I really enjoyed and on any other team just about, he would have been the guy. Mm-hmm. But obviously with Cooper Flagg being there, he's like, okay, that's fine. He'll be the guy. I like the versatility of Knippel's game. He can work off the ball. He can catch and shoot, but he can also beat you off the dribble and also create for himself and for others. And one thing that always impressed me is that when he gets in the paint, he's very sudden with his footwork inside the lane and can control his defender. Again, from what I saw at Duke, again, college game, pro game, different levels of competition, obviously. But his basketball IQ was just through the roof.
Big time.
Through the roof.
Very smart.
And he does something that so many young players, I feel from watching basketball, just aren't taught these days. He moves without the ball. He'll come off a screen, doesn't get the ball, and as opposed to just standing there, still hands out there ready to catch and shoot, okay, I'll either continue to cut through, create space, or I'll just turn back and screen the guy that screened me.
Make something happen.
Yeah, like, okay, I come off a screen, it's not there. Let me just turn around and set a pick for the guy that just set a pick for me. It's just those little things like that. I feel like if he does go to Charlotte, that, hey, guess what? LaMelo Ball, Brandon Miller, those guys are going to handle the ball a lot. Con Knipple can make it work with those guys. Even with Bridges out there in the lineup, who knows what's going to happen with Mark Williams. I know the Hornets tried to trade him to the Lakers last year, and then that was a whole situation in and of itself. Mm-hmm. But I feel like if he's out there, like, he doesn't have to have the ball in his hands to be effective. But we did see last season when Cooper Flagg went down with the ankle injury in the ACC tournament. Well, who took over and ended up being ACC tournament MVP? Was Con Knipple. Like, that's the kind of thing that he can bring. Oh, if you need the ball in my hands, cool. Let's go. But he doesn't have to have the ball in his hands in order for him to be effective. I don't know how that rotation would work with Miller and LaMelo, and granted, LaMelo Ball's hurt quite a bit. I don't know how that will work, but last time I checked, Victoria, the Charlotte Hornets just need talent.
Yeah.
And it just also feels like, I hate using this term, but it feels like a safe pick.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. I generally hate using that term when it comes to draft, but in this sense, it makes sense. Is that the floor the ceiling might not be super high, but the floor is also not really low either. Mm-hmm. That's what makes it a safe pick.
The Charlotte Hornets, I think, could use some safety. I think they could anything because they've tried to they've tried to shoot for the moon and like miss the stars completely. It feels like so. Even just having a safe, foundation pick, that would be good for them.
Yeah, they try to shoot for the stars and didn't even get out of the atmosphere.
No.
Like, that's where they are.
No, they hit a tree.
So they never even exactly. They never even got off the ground. Like full on Wile E. Coyote out here. But that's I will say this though, the Charlotte Hornets, when Michael Jordan was the owner, the draft picks and all that stuff they just didn't really overall work out. Now there's a new ownership group. They're trying to turn things around. It's gonna take a little bit of time. So I'm going to give this new ownership group a little bit of grace, a little bit, but I can also see it from this mindset, Victoria, that if the Hornets do draft Con Knipple, that there's not a lot of excitement around that. I totally get it, but this team needs to continue to build a core and grow.
Yeah.
I like Brandon Miller as a player. Yeah. I really do. I think LaMelo Ball can actually be a really good player. I mean, he is. I mean, just if you watch, I don't get to watch Hornets as much just because being in Raleigh, don't get to watch them as much. But when LaMelo Ball plays, the pace of play is significantly faster. Mm-hmm. He just needs to stay on the court.
Right.
That's the biggest thing. Like, he's just dealt with ankle injuries and stuff. He signed that max contract. He just needs to be on the floor. And Brandon Miller can score.
Yeah.
Can just absolutely score.
It'd be fun to see Con stay in the state, too.
Yeah. There's
Homegrown
that, too.
guy.
I did see some, I think it was a mock draft by ESPN. They had, in the second round, I think the Charlotte Hornets taking Tyrese Proctor in the second round, which, hey, another Duke guy or just, someone from in the state of North Carolina going down and playing for a team here in the state of North Carolina, I think it'd be really cool. I think that'd be great. Actually, speaking of Tyrese Proctor, I think he could be a good backup point guard or two guard. I mean, working with the second unit of the NBA. I think he has the size and length to do it. He has the outside shooting ability. He has pretty good ball handler. I think he could be that, and that's okay. Like, you need those guys in the NBA as well. He's probably going to be a second-round pick. You'll hear his name probably called tomorrow, Tyrese Proctor, but I'm a big fan of Proctor's as well. Big fan of his, too. All right, real quick, before we continue on with the NBA draft and discussing more about that, we're going to be joined by Matt Brown, Drake Powell's head coach here in just a couple of minutes. But real quick note here, speaking of basketball, speaking of college basketball, we're obviously talking about Duke, Carolina, and these players, and NC State, Wake, all these other schools. NCAA, this is according to Pete Thamel of ESPN. Real quick note here. The NCAA is close to a decision on expanding the NCAA tournament. It's already at 68. It went from 64 to 68 teams just a few years ago. But now it looks like for this upcoming basketball season that they would expand from 68 to 76 teams. 68 to 76. So you're adding 8 more teams into the NCAA tournament. Well, guess what? If you're some of these, like for example, NC State, Wake Forest, there's no excuse now for missing it. If they expand from 68 to 76, 8 more at-large bids being added, I'm sorry, like you can't miss the NCAA.
You're not
tournament.
allowed to miss
You
at that point.
You can't miss now. If that's the case, you can't miss now. It's the Adam Gold Show. Dennis Cox sitting in for Adam Gold this afternoon. Joining us here on the Adam Gold Show, Matt Brown, Northwood High School basketball coach located out there in Pittsboro. Roughly 1 calendar year ago, Northwood High School in Pittsboro, a young man by the name of Drake Powell walked across the stage to receive his high school diploma, and that same young man, Drake Powell, might hear his name called tonight. If it's not tonight, it's tomorrow, to walk across the stage at the NBA draft once he hears his name called. And again, joining us to talk about Drake Powell is his high school coach, Matt Brown. Coach, first of all, thanks so much for giving us your time and joining us. I got to lead off just asking you this. What was the moment for you coaching Drake or just watching him play? Did it hit you that, yeah, this guy's going to be an NBA draft pick?
Thanks for having me. I think, it had to have been his freshman year. Just the way he kind of led the team as a freshman and kind of the way he took responsibility of, really helping us get to that state runner-up game. You knew he was something special.
So you mentioned that something special. We always hear from coaches. Again, Matt Brown, from Northwood High School, Drake Powell's high school coach joining us. We always hear from coaches about the aspects of the game that don't necessarily show up on the stat sheet, whether it's communication on switches, screens, jumping in passing lanes to deter passes, or even just how you interact with your teammates to build them up. What is it about Drake as a person, especially since you've seen him grow? What is it about him as a person that has helped him get this far?
Yeah, I think that, the biggest thing is just his unselfishness, and the way he carries himself, the way he acts around other people. He would be the guy that, if he's out of the game, he'd be the first one to go to the water cooler and fill the water up and give it to the guys who were in the game. Or he would be the athlete or, the player who, after the games on a Friday night, would go up in the stands and start cleaning the bleachers so the custodians wouldn't have to do it the next week. Those little intangible things, like, not a lot of kids have. And because of that, I think really has helped him along this journey, just because he's a high character guy. But also he does all the dirty work. The way he plays defense. If you looked at the NBA Finals this year, you had 2 teams who were long, athletic, but also, relied a lot on their defense. OKC, was all about their defense. And, the NBA is kind of turning that way, and the 3-and-D guys. And, that kind of fits the bill perfectly for Drake.
6'6" with a 7-foot wingspan. That's prototypical NBA size. With I think his vertical was like 37.5 inches. But coach, for what you saw from watching him play, what part of his game, and you might have answered it already, what part of his game do you think will translate to the NBA right away?
I think just the defense, the instinct that he has on defense. Like you said, the length that he has, the athleticism that he has, will translate perfectly and fluently into the NBA. The way he impacts the game without having the basketball or without scoring is huge. You have a lot of role guys, not really role guys, but not everybody's going to be that superstar in the NBA. But really good teams need those guys who do all the little other things that impact the game. And he does all those little things that impact the game on various levels. So, and he's so coachable too. If a coach wants him to, guard their best player, he's going to do it to the best of his ability. If they need him to grab 8 rebounds, he's going to do it. So that's his willingness to do whatever it takes, but also his willingness, him being a winner. He won all throughout high school, and that's what he does. That's what he wants to do, is just win the ball game, and that's what I think sets him apart from everybody else.
Matt Brown, Northwood High School basketball coach, coach of Drake Powell, joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. Dennis Cox sitting in for Adam Gold this afternoon. You talk about that mentality and that work ethic, everything you just mentioned. Where does that come from him?
I mean, I think it comes from his parents. I mean, his family. Drake is surrounded with really good people. Miss Sharice and Mr. Diedrich did a great job of raising him, but also, his older brother and older sister, I think, really pushed him when he was younger, pushed him around. And, I got to coach his older brother, Deuce, and he, his work ethic was a lot about the same as Drake's. And, Drake kind of saw what it took to get really good, and he just took it to another level. And, with Drake, I think it's his dream that he wants. This is his dream. Like, he wants to be in the NBA. He's always wanted to be in the NBA. And, he took a hold of it, and he worked his tail off, and he deserves every minute of it.
From the time that you coached him to where you see him now going into the draft, where do you think he's grown the most as a player?
I think his confidence has grown a lot. Just looking at watching his workouts, his interviews from this summer, the way he's carrying himself, you can tell he's a lot more confident in his abilities. But also, his offense has come a long way. A lot of people knock on his offense, but to be honest, he was a 43% shooter, 3-point shooter in high school, and that's pretty darn good for a high school kid.
Yeah.
So he didn't always have to rely on his mid range, but he was able to get to his spots. So I think his offensive skills have come a long way as well.
Has Drake told you where he's getting drafted yet? Any team? Did he tell you?
No. It's crazy. These last couple of days, it's just been a lot of trades have been happening, and the picks are switching around like crazy. So I'm excited for him. I'm excited for his family. They totally deserve it. I'm excited for the town of Pittsburgh to have someone like Drake represent them, and Northwood, and I'm just blessed to have been able to coach him for 4 years.
Matt Brown, head coach at Northwood High School in Pittsburgh, joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. Coach, you mentioned how in Drake Powell's freshman year at Northwood, you guys made a push towards the state title, or at least far in the playoffs. You had another player by the name of Jaron Stevenson on that same team who's actually going to be coming back to the state of North Carolina and going to UNC. Real quick, what can Tar Heel fans expect to see from Jaron Stevenson this year?
Oh man, it's great. It's awesome. I think they're going to see a very versatile big who can run the floor, who can block a lot of shots, who can protect the rim, but also who can stretch teams out. And he's going to be hard to guard. He's able to handle the ball. He's a really good 3-point shooter. So it's a mismatch problem for a lot of teams. They're lucky. Carolina is really lucky to have him.
Should be a fun season, and should be for Tar Heel fans, but also should be a fun day here for fans of Drake Powell, including you yourself. Last question for you, Matt Brown. Where do you want to see Drake Powell go? In an ideal situation, if you could handpick a team, not only where he could play and flourish, but give me an ideal situation for him in your eyes.
In my eyes, I think an ideal position for him is a team that has the identity kind of like his values. So like a family-type atmosphere, a team that relies on defense, but also really relies on like player development. There's great organizations like the Nets, the Bulls, the Pacers, OKC, all have great organizations of developing players, but also like their values are huge. So teams like that, I think he'd be a great fit. I'd love to see him at somewhere like that. And I'm a Pacer fan, so I'd love to see him go to the Pacers.
Oh, that's fair.
I'm just where he ends up. I think he's going to do great. I think he's going to flourish where he ends up. And I think, we're just excited and anxious all at the same time to see where he lands.
Are you talking about defense, work ethic, developing players? I thought you were describing the Carolina Hurricanes for a second there, Coach. Coach Matt Brown, Northwood High School, thanks so much for your time. Enjoy watching Drake get drafted tonight or tomorrow, and I'm happy for you as well. It's an awesome experience for you to experience that, having coached him as well. Thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Again, that's Matt Brown, Northwood High School coach, giving us a little insight on Drake Powell. It's amazing how watching Drake develop this season at North Carolina, for a young player as a freshman right away, because of his length and his athleticism, but that tenacity he had on the defensive end of the court, I actually thought really stood out and was a special thing about him right away. It's like, whoa, he's actually one of their better defenders right now is Drake Powell. And I know early in the season at North Carolina, because of their lack of front court size, he was mostly playing at the 4, a little bit out of position, but as the season progressed, getting moved to the 3, I thought Drake Powell really started to show what he can actually be as a player. I'm excited for him. If he goes into the NBA early on as just a 3-and-D guy coming off the bench, that's great, and his game will continue to grow and evolve. It's the Adam Gold Show. Dennis Cox sitting in for Adam Gold this afternoon. Victoria Vodenecker producing the show. As always, we don't know where Drake Powell is going to get drafted tonight. We do know who's going number 1 overall. Brenden Whitted, our NBA expert on the Adam Gold Show, is going to discuss what's the long-term trajectory for both Drake Powell as well as Cooper Flagg, but also Con Knipple at number 4 to the Hornets. Is he like it as much as I do? We'll have that conversation in 4 minutes.
Making more sports sense than social media trolls. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Duke's Cooper Flagg will go number 1.
Now Cooper across the court. Takes it inside. It throws it down with 2 hands.
But where will the rest of his teammates land in the pros?
Maluach! Dunk that thing down!
And don't forget Carolina's Drake Powell.
Powell hangs in the air, gets the bucket to go, and James is called for the foul.
The 2025 NBA Draft tonight on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Out on credit cards, struggling with high interest debt? You can pay it all off in days with Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan. Hey, it's Dennis Cox. Get cash out now without touching your low-rate first mortgage. No appraisals, no waiting, no BS. The Rapid Equity Loan program at Loan Pronto is amazing. One Loan Pronto client just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. They paid off debt, renovated the kitchen, and cut their monthly expenses by $1,800. That's a huge turnaround. Loan Pronto, instant approvals, low rates, no hard credit pull up front. Listen, your home equity is yours. Use it. Get cash to consolidate your debt down to one easy low monthly payment. Call Loan Pronto now for a free instant appraisal for your home and see how much cash you can get today. Loan Pronto is A+ rated by the BBB and have nearly 2,500 5-star Google reviews. Their service is off the charts. Call now to start the conversation. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. 919-381-1760. Get debt relief now. loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender. NMLS 166171 on approved credit. NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
It's bow time. Yep, it's eating time again. Now you could unload groceries, chop, dice, mince, preheat, heat, slap around the smoke detector, and then celebrate with a big old pile of dishes. But if you're tired of cooking, or tired of sorta cooking, it's time to feed the whole family with Bojangles Fried Chicken Family Meal. With Bojangles' famous chicken, fixins, biscuits, and tea, you can forget the cookbook and spend some well-earned quality time with a delicious dinner from Bojangles. It's bow time.
There's no time like bow time. Time to stop whatever you're doing for some of that bodacious Bojangles flavor. Satisfy your craving for flavor and your passion for boneless chicken with Bojangles 4-piece Supremes Dinner. 4 perfectly seasoned, Cajun-fried, whole breast tenderloin fillets, choice of fixin', a made-from-scratch buttermilk biscuit, and Bojangles legendary iced tea. When you're hungry for flavor and value, it's bow time.
Why'd I go to the doctor? One day at the firehouse, I was so lightheaded I could barely stand. Even my crew noticed. Getting checked out was the right call. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit notimetowait.com. Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer? Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. It's the Sleep Number 4th of July sale. Save over $600 on our King P5 smart bed, our lowest price of the season. Plus, get free home delivery with most smart beds, limited time. All Sleep Number smart beds offer temperature solutions for your best sleep. Check it out at a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com today.
Progressive has great customer service, and it's easy to reach us because great and easy is the way to be. Like salads. Great for you, and so easy you can put any group of veggies in a bowl and it's a salad. A full carrot with a head of cabbage? Weird, but still a salad. 1 radish and a couple of green beans? Also a salad. 14 blueberries, half an onion, and a sunchoke? Odd, yes, but an odd salad. So contact Progressive's customer service by phone, app, or online. It's great and easy, just like salad. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
This is Adam Gold.
I have so many questions, too. Like, is the mom going to be in the business, too? Are we going to have, like, themed UNC products? She's in it, so.
Interesting ram horn you've got there.
Yeah.
The Adam Gold Show.
NBA draft is tonight. This is where a lot of hopes and dreams are built, and also a lot of frustration takes place because it's like teams are like, for fan base, like, I don't want that guy. To be determined tonight, right? But for all NBA stuff, by the way, Dennis Cox sitting in for Adam Gold, Victoria Vodenecker producing the show. And for all things NBA, we turn to our good friend Brenden Whitted is going to be joining us. You can give him a follow at HUCosell. Brenden, I said it earlier to start the show. With Cooper Flagg going number 1 overall to the Dallas Mavericks, they got a loaded front court. Lively, Gafford, P.J. Washington, Anthony Davis. I mean, even Caleb Martin as a backup small forward. They're pretty loaded front court.
Yeah.
And I look at the backcourt and I see, okay, Spencer Dinwiddie. I see Max Christie. I see Klay Thompson. But Kyrie Irving dealing with the ACL injury. Why not make Cooper Flagg point forward? Let him run the show to start the season. Why not?
I think you wouldn't want to put too much on his plate too early.
No, that's
right?
fair.
I think this is simply not a skill set issue as much as, hey, he's a rookie. Let him settle into what his role will actually be when Kyrie does come back. I'm not sure that they're done with making adjustments to that backcourt either. I don't know who. I know that they sniff around D'Angelo Russell. I know that's a report out that just came out either last night or this morning. I'd wonder if they'd be interested in a Chris Paul in a 1-year rental sort of situation. Like they're much like Boston. They're kind of in a wait and see sort of a mode because Kyrie obviously being injured completely changes the trajectory of what they thought this team would look like even post Luka trade. But I think if I'm Dallas, I don't put too much on his plate. It's going to be difficult enough. You mentioned how loaded they are in that front court, and that's part of the reason I think that they might continue to make moves with at the guard position because there's just a lot of guys that play a very similar style, not a ton of shooting. You know, Anthony Davis outside that one bubble year isn't that kind of a shooter. Neither is Lively. And so they're going to have to figure out, there are a lot of really good pieces there. And I have a hard time believing that all of those guys are going to be walking in day one and still on that roster when they still have so much more to do in the backcourt, even if they want to just be somewhat competitive.
What is initially, and maybe in the long term, what is Cooper Flagg's ideal role?
You know, I got made fun of a lot for when I made this comp earlier.
Okay.
It reminds me a lot of Ben Simmons, like the early Ben Simmons, before Ben Simmons had that kind of like just mental short circuit. Remember,
like
Ben
before
Simmons was
passing up on layups, Ben Simmons.
Yes, right. Before that guy, but remember, he was an all-star. He's all defensive team. He's a rookie. Like he was a really good early player. I think he made like 3 all-star games until, you know, kind of whatever happened with him. But I think that can be what Cooper Flagg is. You mentioned point forward. That was what Ben Simmons did a lot of for the Philadelphia 76ers. And I think that he will be an important cog in terms of the ball movement. They don't have a ton of passers. I mentioned some of the redundant skill sets in that front court. Mm-hmm. Without Kyrie, they really don't have a ton of passing. You mentioned Klay. That's not really his forte. Max Christie's still pretty young, and he's really not a facilitator like that. Flagg might walk in first day and be one of their better facilitators. I think that would be a really, really important part of his early career, as long as they don't put too much on him. He shouldn't be your primary guy. I wouldn't want him bringing up the ball a ton and having to run sets. Not that he can't, but that I wouldn't want to put too much on him too early. But he is going to be a vital cog, kind of the way that maybe Jokic is or Sabonis is for Sacramento, where you're having him at the elbow and things just kind of work around him kind of in a heliocentric sort of a vibe, because he can make those passes. He can make those decisions. And if you have guys that are good enough off ball to cut and move and shooters, you can be a problem offensively for any team.
Brenden Whitted, HU Cosell, give him a follow on X. He's our basketball brain here on the Adam Gold Show. Speaking of Flag and that situation going to Dallas, again, no Kyrie Irving to start the year recovering from the ACL, but there's a lot of talent on that team. Not a lot of first overall picks go to pretty talented teams that could compete right away. This is not a situation where, all right, you got to come in and be the guy and your team stinks for the next 4 years because we don't know how to put guys around you. This is a situation where he's dropped into a team that can compete right away. I mean, again, that's a perfect situation for a guy like him. He might be able to flourish in this type of situation as opposed to just putting up good counting stats on a bad team.
Yeah, like that's 1.8%, man. That was their those were their odds to
all you needed.
Get the number one pick. Certainly not the Hornets, who were organically trashed, right? Like they didn't have to tank. They were God-given bad last year.
They were.
Like I wanted a top 3 pick would have been great. Even Dylan Harper, right? The guy was going to go number 2. I thought that would have been a really nice guy to pair alongside LaMelo Ball or take over for LaMelo Ball when he inevitably gets hurt. Not that I'm wishing that happens, but it is something that happens.
It happens.
It happens frequently enough that you kind of have to plan for it now. And not a ton in that backcourt in terms of depth for guys that you really want to create. Nick Smith Jr., Seth Curry. I mean, it drops off pretty severely after Ball. And so Harper would have been great. If they're picking 4, Knipple is the guy that I want, and I think this.
Yes,
I think this has as much to do with wanting just some stability. I think he's one of the guys with the higher floors in this draft, not named Flag or Harper, where hey, he's good off the catch and shoot. He's a good movement shooter. He can create a little bit and play make. You saw when Flag went out, you saw him do a little bit of that, something that the Hornets desperately need, because that goes lacking whenever LaMelo, even if he's just sitting, when he goes to the bench, that can suffer. And I think if you're a Hornets fan and you looked at the finals and you looked at OKC specifically, we're looking at another small market team. We're also looking at a team that was in the finals in 2012, right? Remember the KD, Russ, Harden team that lost to LeBron and the Heat. And they went from that, got bad, added draft capital, got good again, and now have won a title, and the Hornets have stayed bad that entire time.
That's true.
And there just has to be a higher ceiling. Like I think there is a general fan fatigue with this Hornet squad, because you're talking about North Carolina and you're talking about basketball. The fans are there, right?
Oh, yeah.
But the fans aren't going to be there for in perpetuity, right? Like for anybody, there is a breaking point. And you're talking about the team with 24th in terms of defensive points per possession allowed, 29th in terms of points per possession scored on offense, 28th in third. I mean, like just almost every bad offensive metric they had. So they have to get better somewhere. And Knipple seems like, to me, almost a layup. Like, we know he'll be able to play and he'll be good for a while. And it doesn't have to be, hey, Mark Williams is hurt again, Brandon Miller is hurt again, LaMelo's hurt again. Like some sort of stability, which is a lot to ask for any rookie, but that's what you're hoping for if you're a Hornets fan.
All those rankings you were throwing out, I thought you were talking about the Carolina Panthers defense, speaking of Charlotte. But speaking of, they're catching strays right now. But speaking of Con Knipple, and this is something I mentioned at the start of the show, and the reason why I like him for Charlotte is that he doesn't have to have the ball in his hands. Like Brandon Miller, LaMelo Ball, those guys can have the primary ball handlers, and Knipple can make it work. But he does something that so many young players, I think, struggle with. And I think this is something we're seeing across basketball as a sport, is that we see so many young players, someone's bringing the ball up in the court, and they're just kind of standing in the corner ready to catch and shoot, and they're not moving. Like, Knipple will come off a screen, doesn't get the ball, he'll continue to cut, or he'll just turn back and screen the guy that screened for him. Like, he does those kinds of things, and just his basketball IQ is so high. Like you mentioned, I said the exact same thing. His floor is really high, and I think he could be a good core piece for a team. It's not a sexy pick, but this team needs to raise its floor, and I think Knipple can do that.
I think so too, and I think it's stability. Yeah. Right? That's what you want. You want somebody that you feel confident is going to be able to play 70 games throughout the season. Hopefully Brandon Miller comes back. The Brandon Miller, there hasn't been a ton of transparency with where he is in his recovery of his wrist injury.
Yeah.
The Hornets have gotten into some of this stuff previously where they are just very, very tight with the information given. But from the X interviews that he gave, he still wasn't doing 5-on-5 on-court stuff. Remember, he was an all rookie. He was on an all rookie team. His rookie year, like he's a good player, but as so happens so often with Hornets players, haven't seen enough of him.
Mm-hmm.
As it pertains to Mark Williams, trying to trade him and then being unsuccessful in doing so, and then him coming back is kind of awkward.
It is a little awkward.
And there was a couple games there where it seemed like he was healthy enough to play, but there seemed to be a little bit of friction from maybe some tea leaves that were kind of out there. I'm just hoping that whatever issues previously that they've had, that they're able to work through those, because that would be giving up on a number 15 pick really early in his career, who has shown flashes and shown prominence, even if there are some injury concerns, particularly with his back.
Brenden Whitted at HU Cosell. Give him a follow. Last question for you, 60 seconds here, Brenden Whitted. Brooklyn Nets have 4 first-round picks.
Yeah,
are they gonna make some moves? You should be able to build a future with 4 first-round picks, right?
I would think you wouldn't necessarily want 4 first-round picks all at the same time, though.
That's true.
Because it's so hard to develop guys all at the same time. The stuff that OKC was able to do with the development of all these young players simultaneously has been really, really impressive. Now, they still needed Hartenstein is a little bit older. They still needed Caruso, who had won a title before. But they've been able to bring along SGA and J-Dub and Chet all kind of simultaneously at the same time. That's something – I feel like that's more of an outlier than it is something that everybody else can do. I would not be surprised if the Nets traded out of the first and just and push some of these decisions to be made at a different time, or maybe combine some and try to move up in case they really, really like somebody. But I have a hard time believing that they're going to make every single one of those selections tonight.
Maybe Drake Powell, North Carolina guy, might be going to the Brooklyn.
He's been really low on all the mocks that I've seen,
yeah.
And I feel like he might be one, not to be too much of a homer here, but he might be one of those guys we kind of look back on and like, why didn't he go earlier with the skill set that he's going to be able to walk in first day with?
Yeah, and he can help a team right away. He can help a team right away for sure. Brenden Whitted, thanks so much for your time. Again, at HU Cosell. Enjoy the draft tonight, my man. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you, man.
Absolutely. Brenden Whitted joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. Dennis Cox sitting in for Adam Gold this afternoon. The draft is tonight, but there are also some moves being made, not only in the draft. The NBA's been some trades. Kristaps Porzingis was traded. Drew Holiday's been traded all the way from the Boston Celtics. But we're seeing NHL players even today still getting traded. Could one get moved to the Carolina Hurricanes? That might be a question that pops up in one-timers next.
Questioning goalie interference calls since day one. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
It's the first day of the first grade, and she found a new best friend. It's a laid-back Sunday afternoon you wish would never end. The homemade taste of Bluebell and good friends gathered round. The good old days are being made right now.
You'll be one smart cookie when you try Bluebell Cookie Cake Ice Cream. A sweet cream ice cream loaded with chocolate chip cookie cake pieces and swirls of chocolate and vanilla icing. This cookie cake ice cream really takes the cake.
The good old days are being made right now. The good old days are being made right now.
Look for Bluebell ice cream at your local grocer and pick up your favorite flavor today.
The North Carolina Healthcare Association invites you to listen to this month's podcast,
Conversations on the State of Healthcare. This month, we're talking about a major collaboration that's making waves in Iredell County. Kim Holland, Development Coordinator for the Iredell Health Foundation, tells us about Whole 3.
The goal of the collaborative is about addressing the complex and interwoven challenges that many families in Iredell County face. And, things like poverty, lack of access to health care, and educational disparities. So it's designed as truly a collaborative. It's community-led initiative. We're bringing together schools, nonprofits, health systems, and families to build a system that actually works for families, not just around them.
Learn more and join our latest Conversations on the State of Healthcare wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. And learn more by visiting nchealthcare.org.
Every parent wants their child to grow up healthy and strong, especially if they have a special medical need. And when my son Maddox was born with a rare neurological disorder, private insurance wouldn't cover his care. But Medicaid stepped in, and now Maddox can go to school and have a future of his own. My name is Ashley, and I'm speaking up to protect NC Medicaid.
Learn more at ncchild.org/speakup. That's ncchild.org/speakup.
Healthcare?
Why is it so hard?
Healthcare is broken.
At Blue Cross and Blue Shield of North Carolina, we get it.
Really?
Really. That's why we're making healthcare better for all, starting with you.
Really?
Really. We're making plans easier to navigate by putting all your benefits, prescriptions, and details on your computer and phone. Convinced?
No, but it's a start.
We'll take it. Blue Cross North Carolina, making healthcare better for all, starting with you.
As public power customers, we experience fewer outages and faster restoration than customers of other electric providers. But the benefits of having a locally owned electric system go far beyond unbeaten reliability. Our local public power employees support our community, providing electric hookups for events, installing and maintaining ballpark lights, holiday lights, traffic lights, street lights, and more. Local people working together to meet local needs. That's the value of public power. Learn more at electricities.com.
We had to exit the home pretty quickly because of how quickly the water came in. It was just really vital to me whenever all the public service announcements were going out, that we needed to get our water tested.
We need to, get in the field and start helping people disinfect their water supplies.
It's really critical to their health to be able to have that safe drinking water.
They were reaching out to me to make sure that I knew that there were resources available.
NC Public Health, everywhere, every day, everyone.
This is Adam Gold.
And I did have to use two screens at one point, or a couple of points, and I don't like it. I can't watch two games at the same time.
There's a lot going on.
I'm sorry, I'm incapable of doing that. Because there were times where, I forgot this other game was on in front of me.
Yeah.
The Adam Gold Show.
Victoria, before we get into one-timers, by the way, it's the Adam Gold Show. Dennis Cox sitting in for Adam Gold. Victoria Vodenecker producing the show. One thing about the draft, before we get into one-timers, this goes with NBA draft, goes with NHL draft, NHL free agency, NFL free agency, NBA free agency, all these different things that take place, is that we as fans, and even media as well, the speculation of thought of what if? The what if always draws us in, if that makes sense. It's just the idea of something, the possibility and the thought that we create in our minds always draws us in. This is why the draft for the NFL and for the NBA are so highly rated as events. That's why free agency is such a frenzy for fans. That's why we're constantly refreshing our social media feeds to see if all the insiders what's next? What's next? What's next? But that's what the draft gives us. What if this happens? What if this team trades here? What if this player gets moved? Well, what if they draft this guy? What does it mean for this person? All like that stuff that we create in our minds. It's a lot of fun. And we do the same thing like with the Carolina Hurricanes, Victoria. We do the exact same thing. We do the same thing with the Charlotte Hornets, the Carolina Panthers. We all do it.
Yeah. And
I'm sure we're going to have some things like that. These possibilities pop up in one-timers.
Well, we'll we'll start things off. We do have one from Matthew on our YouTube stream.
All right.
He wants to know, does moving KK to another team involve retaining some of his salary, or do you see it playing out another way?
If they do retain some of his salary, I don't think it's going to be a whole lot. I mean, let's be honest. It's under $5 million. And there's 5 years left on that deal. So if you're going to retain salary, I don't see it being more than probably $1 million would be my guess if they do. But if you're moving Jesperi Kotkaniemi to another team, you are going to be getting a player in return. So my guess is that the salaries aren't going to be that much different where you would need to retain. Because I think that a team that's going to be acquiring Jesperi Kotkaniemi isn't going to be in a salary cap position where they like, oh, well, if we're going to make this trade happen, we need to retain. Most likely it's, hey, if you're going to take Kotkaniemi, it's going to be part of a larger deal where there's going to be multiple players moved, probably on both sides. If you trade Kotkaniemi, they're probably going to have to include one of your younger players like Bradley Nadeau or Jackson Blake, along with a pick to a team in order to get a player coming back. And I don't think it's going to put a situation where the other team is going to be taking on more salary than they're giving up, if that makes sense. So, no, I don't see the Canes having to retain salary in any sort of way. I mean, there could be a team out there that just needs to add a body and add money to their cap because, believe it or not, there are several teams out there going into this offseason that are actually under the salary cap floor. Now, when it comes to the salary cap in the NHL, there is a limit, obviously, of what you can spend, but there's also a floor on what you have to spend. And believe it or not, Carolina actually needs to spend $2 million to get above the cap floor is where they need to do. The Canes do. If they're going to just offload his salary and another team takes it, then you're probably going to be like, hey, look. Like, for example, we saw Evander Kane get traded today from Edmonton to Vancouver. He has 1 year left on his contract at just over $5.1 million. Vancouver sent back a fourth-round pick in this year's draft. That's all it was. And for Edmonton, it's great. All right, fine. We're going to take very little return to clear up cap space. There might be another team out there that just needs a body and like, hey, look, take Kotkaniemi off our hands, send us a fifth-round pick, and that's it. Which, in Carolina's case, that's fine too. But no, I don't see him retaining salary.
Okay.
Long question, short answer.
That's fine. So
short question, long answer.
Next up for sticking with the NBA draft.
Okay.
So Ace Bailey has been talked about being a great pick talent-wise, but maybe not so much personality, player, teammate-wise. So would you take someone like Ace Bailey, someone like, for instance, he doesn't want to practice for teams ahead of time. Would you take someone like Ace Bailey, or where do you see him going?
So Ace Bailey. So a lot of people that may not know this, he's the only American player that has not worked out for any NBA team.
Right.
Now, teams have invited him to come work out, to try him out, do personal workouts, all those kinds of things, so they can talk to him one-on-one a little bit more. And he has turned down every single one of those workouts. So he hasn't done any of them. I don't know if it's just bad advice from his management, which is a real thing that happens, unfortunately. You get just bad advice from the people that are supposed to be helping you. And I think, if I remember correctly, he turned down, or he didn't show up to his one against the 76ers, or canceled the one, I should say this correctly. He had a workout set up with the 76ers. 76ers had everything set up in terms of, we have a flight, hotel where you're going to stay, have everything set up, and did all the logistical stuff in order to set up the workout for Ace Bailey. And then he canceled basically last minute. You know? So that definitely would throw a wrench in. If I was picking, be like, you're canceling on all these teams. What are you hiding? That would throw me off. But you do watch the highlights and you're like, those are impressive. But there's questions of consistency with his play. I would be super cautious about picking him. If I was drafting him, I would have to have a really good core group of players. And if I have multiple first-round draft picks, it's like, okay, if this doesn't work out, it's not going to be a big loss if it doesn't work out. But hey, you know what? It's the boom or bust thing. This guy's either going to be an all-star or you're going to be looking to offload his contract in 2 years.
Yeah.
Could be one of those situations. So, me personally, I would avoid it.
Yeah.
I would avoid it.
Seems like he might have a bit of an ego.
I think honestly, it's bad advice.
Yeah.
I think if he's a young guy, because he's 18, 19, I think it's bad advice.
Well,
I think it's bad advice.
Someone that we are familiar with who doesn't seem to have that kind of ego, Cooper Flagg.
Yeah.
Aside from Cooper Flagg, who would you be surprised to not see get picked in this day one of the NBA draft?
So who would I be shocked that doesn't get picked today?
Right, aside from Cooper.
Cooper's obviously going to go number one. But I would actually be shocked if Drake Powell doesn't get picked today. I mean, even if he goes like 27, 28, 29, which is some people have him mocked at that spot, 27, 28, 29, in that area, I would be kind of surprised if he's not drafted today. I think when you're talking to his coach, having watched him play, I think he can step in and be like a 7th, 8th guy off the bench on a team right away, play good defense, and be a 3-and-D guy right away. He has the athletic build. He's 6'6", but he has a 7-foot wingspan. He's super athletic and springy. I think he should be a first-round pick in my eyes. Might be in the 20s, but that's okay. And I think he could step in and play right away. I think so. Yeah, Drake Powell, North Carolina. Be shocked if he doesn't go.
All right. Last but not least, do you think that there is a player that the Hornets could get that would drastically turn their team around for next season, even if that just makes them average?
If it just makes them average. Outside of the obvious and Cooper Flagg, Brenden Whitted just mentioned it, Dylan Harper from Rutgers. He's probably going to go number 2 to the Spurs as a guard. I think a lot of people, if they were to tier this draft, Cooper Flagg's in his own number 1 tier. That second tier is probably Dylan Harper, and then you start getting into like the third tier after that. So probably Dylan Harper, but Knipple will help raise the floor in my mind. Con Knipple of Duke. The Carolina Hurricanes have been linked to Tomas Hertl and William Karlsson. I'll tell you why I don't want Tomas Hertl next.
Talking sports, dropping truth. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
It's Men's Health Month, and WakeMed wants to remind you to protect your skin to reduce your risk for skin cancer, sunburn, and premature skin aging. For any exposed skin, sunscreen should be worn. It should be broad spectrum to fight UVA and UVB rays, an SPF of 30 or higher, and be water resistant. Apply sunscreen 15 minutes prior to exposure and every 2 hours. So whether you are headed out to mow the lawn or to get in 18 holes, make sure you are covered, literally. For more information, visit wakemed.org.
Breaking news coming in from Bet365, and it's no surprise. Same game parlay from Bet365 just keeps getting better.
Well, it's even easier to make a bet. Choose from the most popular markets like hits, run line, totals, and home runs. So many to choose from.
Download the app, start building your bet, and see why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in North Carolina. T&Cs apply.
Hey girl, haven't seen you downtown lately.
Nope, sticking to our go-to places.
You mean like Sharky's?
Well, we love our Sharky's. Best wings and gumbo on the planet. But we never miss the $5 sangrias on Wednesdays at the new Salt and Lime and Mexican pints on Thursdays for $3.
You know my boy loves the House of Hops. No better selection of craft beer in the state. Loves their specials, their food trucks, and you know I love my wine. They have a wonderful selection.
And have I told you about our new takeout spot, Che Empanadas? It's right next to Sharky's. They have 20 different types of authentic Argentinian empanadas, and they are incredible, especially the breakfast ones. You gotta try it.
Sounds perfect. And how awesome is it that they're so close to each other?
Yes.
Give them a try. Che Empanadas, House of Hops, Salt and Lime, and Sharky's. Just a hop, skip, and a jump from each other off Durham Road, Glenwood, and Grove Barton.
Did you catch Luisito's header?
Yeah, I just recorded it on my new Samsung A36 5G phone I got for free at Total Wireless.
Oh, I'm actually live streaming the whole match with my new Samsung Tab A9 that I also got free at Total Wireless.
I got that tablet too.
And I got that phone too. We both got both.
Go!
Switch to Total Wireless and get both the Samsung A36 5G and the Samsung Tab A9 for free. For a limited time while supplies last, valid in store. Requires new phone activation on the Total 5G Unlimited plan or higher external port and ID verification and new activation on the Total 5G Unlimited 6-month tablet plan. Restrictions apply.
Discover a new role with the Wake County Public School System. We're hiring special education instructional assistants and bus drivers, and we need dedicated individuals to help transport kids and provide instruction to eager students. You'll love our recently increased salaries and comprehensive benefits, including retirement, and will enjoy a welcoming, positive culture that will motivate you every day. Apply now at careers.wcpss.net and discover a place where anything is possible.
We don't want you on our team.
You're not the right fit for this job.
You're too slow and fast.
Don't you care how you look?
Weight bias hurts. Go to stopweightbias.com. A public service message from Obesity Action Coalition.
See if you're a winner every night. Watch live lottery drawings on WRAL TV's 11 o'clock news. That's right, Carolina Pick 3, Carolina Pick 4, and Carolina Cash 5 numbers every night on WRAL TV's 11 o'clock news. See if you're a winner before you go off to bed. Get your lottery numbers live every night.
North Carolina Education Lottery.
Only on WRAL TV's 11 o'clock news.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Getting hurt in a car wreck comes with all kinds of stress and frustration. But when you call me, I'll be on top of all of it. So all you need to worry about is getting better. If you've been injured in a car wreck, I'm on top of it. Contact us at ritchielaw.com.
Jumpstart your retirement savings at WeSaySaveIt.org. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
I mean, the kid's still a teenager, right? And we're over here trying to, nitpick at all these guys. But he may be one of the most well-rounded freshmen that played at Duke, his first year at Duke. I think if you had to nitpick and try to, chisel his game down and figure out what he can really get better at, it's the one-on-one, right? When he gets the ball in his hand at the end of the game, does he have a go-to move to win the game for you? And that would be the only thing if I'm nitpicking at his game. He's going to get better at every single thing he does because he competes. He plays hard every possession. He goes after it. He galvanizes his team, and that's what you want to see out of a number one pick.
Those are the words of Carlos Boozer, former Duke player himself. Now works on the ACC network and ESPN. Talking about Cooper Flagg, the projected number one pick in tonight's NBA draft. I think Cooper Flagg is going into, honestly, being drafted by the Dallas Mavericks number one overall. It's a pretty good team overall as a whole. I know Kyrie Irving hurt coming off the ACL injury. Still going to take some time for him to come back. He's not going to play a full season. Anthony Davis is a walking injury report, I feel like, but when he's playing, he's obviously very good. But you have Derek Lively, you have Daniel Gafford, PJ Washington, along with Anthony Davis, even throwing Caleb Martin. That's a solid front court, and you throw Cooper Flagg into that mix. Now, they might continue to make some moves to kind of add to their backcourt. They have Klay Thompson, who's a shooter, a true shooting guard. You have Spencer Dinwiddie. You have Max Christie. Max Christie, probably not a facilitator type. Still a really young player, but not many number one overall picks go into good situations. And Cooper Flagg, I think, overall is going into a pretty good situation tonight. Again, unless something shocks us, Victoria, he's going to go number one to the Dallas Mavericks.
Yeah. Vegas still has, do we have to check? I've got to check. It's probably minus 85,000.
Yeah.
For him to go first.
It's kind of wild.
It was nuts last time I looked at it, so.
But hey, if you want to drop that much money in order to make $100, go for it.
Yeah.
It's your money.
I mean, yeah.
But could you imagine, Victoria, if Cooper Flagg isn't the first pick tonight?
Okay, minus 100,000.
Minus 100,000. All right, for those who don't know in betting terms, minus 100,000 in terms of betting odds.
Yeah.
You would have to bet $100,000. And then obviously Cooper Flagg gets taken number one. You get your stake back, so you get the $100,000 back and $100 in winnings.
Right.
So if you want to make a fast $100, yeah, it's going to cost you $100,000. Now you'll get that money back with the, anyway.
Yeah.
Just
probably not a good bet.
Probably not a good.
Even in a parlay, that would That would womp it all the way down.
Would just kill your parlay. You might as well just take that off.
Yeah.
Because it's just going to completely kill the parlay. Yeah, don't do it. Just don't do it.
No.
It's the Adam Gold Show. Dennis Cox sitting in for Adam Gold this afternoon. Victoria producing the show. Let's go ahead and make take 2. All right, so I kind of talked already a little about the NBA draft. By the way, check out the Best of the Adam Gold Show podcast, wherever you get your podcasts. Victoria does a great job of posting clips and segments of the show out there. Apple, Spotify, you name it. You can listen to segments of the show or go on YouTube. If you search the Adam Gold Show on YouTube, or more specifically, if you want to search 99.9 The Fan. So 99.9 The Fan on YouTube. 99.9 The Fan in Raleigh is the flagship station for the Adam Gold Show. You can watch the show in its entirety on YouTube live. And also the full replay is available for you there as well. You can leave thoughts in the comment section. You can leave thoughts live in the chat during the video, during the actual show. So, one of the big conversations we had yesterday, Victoria, and I've stated this, about Tomas Hertl. There was a rumor floating around yesterday, and there was a report as well that the Carolina Hurricanes contacted the Vegas Golden Knights about Tomas Hertl as well as William Karlsson, a couple of forwards. Now, Tomas Hertl, 31 years old, 5 years left on his contract. He has a $6.7 million cap hit because when Vegas traded for him from the San Jose Sharks, Vegas didn't have to pay that full salary cap hit because San Jose Sharks retained some of that salary. So it's not the full cap number. It's $6.75 million is the cap hit. And there was a word floating around of like, hey, Tomas Hertl of the Carolina Hurricanes is a possibility. And apparently, like, hey, there's a little smoke here, but you know what? Throw cold water on that. Doesn't look like anything's happening. Couple things to keep in mind about Tomas Hertl's contract with the Vegas Golden Knights. Between now and July 1st, so over the next 6 days, he has a full no movement clause. So if he doesn't want to get moved, like, hey, if team approaches him about a trade, he can just nix it from the get-go. Nope, don't want to go there. Starting July 1st, Victoria, he has a 3-team trade list. So he can give Vegas 3 teams where he can say, hey, you know what? I will approve these 3 teams right from the get-go without any questions. He can sit there and say, I will approve. My 3 teams would be Dallas, Florida, and Tampa. I'm just going to use those 3 teams. Dallas, Florida, Tampa. You can send me to any of those 3 teams, and you don't have to approach me about it. Just a 3-team trade list. Now, if Vegas wanted to go up to him and say, hey, just let you know, the Carolina Hurricanes are offering this in a trade. Would you accept a trade to the Carolina Hurricanes? He could say no. If he's not on that, if the Carolina Hurricanes aren't on that 3-team trade list, he could say no. So there is that hurdle. Tomas did not intend to do that. Did not intend to do that, but there.
Might as well go with it.
Might as well roll with it. There's a hurdle with Hertl. So that is something to keep in mind about his contract. Okay? I'm going to state the reason why I don't think Tomas Hertl is a great fit for the Carolina Hurricanes. If you look at Tomas Hertl, at his numbers this past season, you're going to sit there and say, well, he had 31 goals. He was 30-plus goals. He's a 60-point-plus guy. 32 goals, 29 assists, 61 points this past season, played 73 games. He was a -3 player. His plus-minus was in the minus. If you're a 30-plus goal scorer in the NHL, you should not be a minus player. Simple as that. His numbers were inflated because he scored a lot on the power play this past season, which is nothing wrong with having a player that can be super effective for you on the power play. But you can't have a player that's going to be on the ice for more goals against at 5-on-5 than goals for. So if you actually look at, going back to his career, like looking at his entire career, looking at 5-on-5 situations, Victoria, the times that he's on the ice for goals for and the times he's on the ice for goals against. 7 times in his career, he's been on the ice for more goals against than goals for. 5 times it's been the other way. So a majority of his career at 5-on-5, and even including this past season with Vegas, he was on the ice at 5-on-5 situations for 40 goals scored. He was on the ice for 45 goals against on 5-on-5 situations.
Not good.
And this is a guy who scored 32 goals. You can't be a minus player if you're going to score 30-plus goals. And I mentioned it yesterday, and I'll say it again, and I had someone tell me, terrible take. The guy is slow, and I have the numbers to back it up. He is not a good skater at all. If you're going to play in the Carolina Hurricanes system, you got to be able to skate. I think among the forwards, Victoria, we could objectively say, I'm not trying to knock on the player, but who is probably their slowest skater among the forwards? Take a guess. Just give me a name of the forwards for the Carolina Hurricanes. Who's probably their slowest skater?
Oh gosh, I don't
Jordan
know.
Staal, probably?
Maybe, yeah.
And again, 37-year-old Jordan Staal is a faster skater by far than Tomas Hertl. If you look at top-end speed, bursts of 22-plus miles per hour, rushing or speed bursts of 20 to 22, or even 18 to 20 miles per hour, Tomas Hertl is in the bottom 50% in the entire league in every single one of those categories.
Wow.
In every single one of those categories.
It's not ideal.
It's not. It's not ideal at all. I don't want a player that's 31, going to turn 32 in November, that is not a fast skater. I get it. He's a bigger guy. Like, oh, he's big at 6'3", 220. I understand that. But he cannot skate well enough to play in this system. And you can put up some goals, but late in the game, are you to be trusted? And I would not trust him defensively to skate up and down the ice with some of the other teams, especially with the way the trend of the NHL is going. It's getting even faster. You have to be able to skate at an elite level to play on this Canes team. And also, this Carolina Hurricanes team, as much as they do need goal scoring, they need some grit too. This is why I've said I know he's not going to be a free agent, because I doubt that the Florida Panthers are going to let this dude walk. But you need a player like Sam Bennett on your team. You need a guy like Matthew Tkachuk on your team. I said it 2 years ago when the Carolina Hurricanes got eliminated in the Eastern Conference Final by the Florida Panthers, and they got swept. All 4 of those games were 1-goal games. That's the series where they had that epic 4 overtime game. I said Matthew Tkachuk is everything that you want Andrei Svechnikov to become, from not only a production standpoint, but the agitator and a little bit of a pest. That's exactly who you want Andrei Svechnikov to become. Like, the Canes need that grit. Not just grit guys from, like, fourth liners who chuck hands and fight guys. They need actual guys that play in their top 6 that aren't afraid to mix it up either. That's what they need. And I don't think Tomas Hertl fits any of the stuff that the Carolina Hurricanes really, truly need. I'm not saying he's a bad player. I'm just saying it doesn't fit. It just doesn't fit. Now, if William Karlsson became available, who has 2 years left on his contract at $5.9 million, who can actually play defense and is a plus player and has, I think, remember correctly, 5 seasons where he's had multiple short-handed goals, that's the kind of player I want. Like, Alex Tuck is the kind of player that I want.
Please and thank you.
From Buffalo. He's got 1 year left on his deal. Rugged, physical player, big body guy, and can skate really well, can kill penalties, can play on your power play, plays in every phase.
Ehlers, that's another one.
Oh, Nikolai Ehlers?
Yeah.
I'm not as high on Nikolai Ehlers.
No?
I'm not as high on Nikolai Ehlers. I think there's a little redundancy with him, personally. But I would take Alex Tuck because of his physicality, his speed, and the grit that he can bring. I don't think Tomas Hertl is the fit. It's the Adam Gold Show. Dennis Cox sitting in for Adam Gold this afternoon. Something that I don't like is the NCAA tournament expanding to possibly 76 teams. I don't like that at all, Victoria. We're going to talk about it with Chip Patterson, CBS Sports, next.
Questioning goalie interference calls since day one. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Duke's Cooper Flag will go number 1.
Now Cooper across midcourt. Takes it inside and throws it down with 2 hands.
But where will the rest of his teammates land in the pros?
Maluach! Dunk that thing down!
And Don't forget Carolina's Drake Powell.
Powell hangs in the air, gets the bucket to go, and James is called for the foul.
The 2025 NBA Draft tonight on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Out on credit cards, struggling with high interest debt? You can pay it all off in days with Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan. Hey, it's Dennis Cox. Get cash out now without touching your low-rate first mortgage. No appraisals, no waiting, no BS. The Rapid Equity Loan program at Loan Pronto is amazing. One Loan Pronto client just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. They paid off debt, renovated the kitchen, and cut their monthly expenses by $1,800. That's a huge turnaround. Loan Pronto, instant approvals, low rates, no hard credit pull up front. Listen, your home equity is yours. Use it. Get cash to consolidate your debt down to one easy low monthly payment. Call Loan Pronto now for a free instant appraisal for your home and see how much cash you can get today. Loan Pronto is A+ rated by the BBB and have nearly 2,500 five-star Google reviews. Their service is off the charts. Call now to start the conversation. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. 919-381-1760. Get debt relief now. loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender. NMLS 166171 on approved credit. NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Get ready for July 4th with early savings at Lowe's. Right now, get up to 40% off select major appliances and get an additional 10% off 2 or more select major appliances. Plus, get 3 Stay Green or premium 2 cubic foot mulch bags for just $10. These deals are coming in hot. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 6/25. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. See Lowe's.com for more details. Excludes Alaska and Hawaii.
Why'd I go to the doctor? One day at the firehouse, I was so lightheaded I could barely stand. Even my crew noticed. Getting checked out was the right call. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit NoTimeToWait.com. Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Tim Donnelly here for Men's Health Month. We are catching up with Dr. Jonathan Chappell, orthopedic sports medicine surgeon from Wake Orthopedics. Doctor, when is an injury bad enough? How do you know that you should go see an orthopedics specialist?
It's a great question, and it's something that both providers and patients often struggle with. If you are in activity and you have an injury and you feel a pop or you have immediate swelling, immediate pain in a joint and you can't bear weight, such as lower extremity, like an ankle or knee, or you notice a deformity, like in a wrist or a collarbone, these are circumstances you should probably see someone at an urgent care like Wake Orthopedic Urgent Care or at Wake Med to seek help right away. If it's something where there's a mild swelling, some irritation of a joint for a few days after an event, you can often give it a period of rest, take some anti-inflammatories, do some stretching, and many times they'll resolve on their own.
For answers to questions like that one and much more about men's health, please visit wakemed.org.
When you switch to Progressive and bundle your home and auto, you could save hundreds, and that's a surprising amount of money.
Whoa, that's like farmer's market money.
That's like give me a gallon of that locally sourced raw honey money.
That's certified organic heirloom tomatoes in every imaginable color except red money.
That's let's get 2 pounds of pink oyster mushrooms money. I'm not even sure I like pink oyster mushrooms.
Guess it's time to find out. Because you could save hundreds when you switch to Progressive and bundle. Then the world is your pink oyster mushroom. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states.
This is Adam Gold.
He doesn't have many years to choose from.
No, and part of that was COVID. Nobody's picking COVID.
COVID was a great year.
Yeah.
Look, if you invested in Zoom,
oh, that was a good year.
You had a good year during COVID.
Yep.
The Adam Gold Show.
So ESPN reported last night, Pete Thamel of ESPN said that a decision on whether or not the expansion of the NCAA men's and women's basketball tournaments will be made in the upcoming weeks and possibly going from 68 teams to not 70, not 72, not 74, but possibly 76, adding 8 more teams into the mix. And that's where we're going to lead things off here as we are joined by Chip Patterson, CBS Sports. Follow him at Chip_Patterson. Chip, thanks so much for joining us here today here on the Adam Gold Show. Dennis Cox sitting in for Adam Gold. Chip, why does this stink? Going to 76 teams, I think it sucks if they decide to do this.
Oh,
I think I push back.
Really?
Okay?
Why? Tell me why I'm wrong, please.
As long as they don't change the calendar.
Okay.
As long as we don't have another weekend of the NCAA tournament.
All right.
My understanding of these expansion plans is more or less to expand Dayton, to expand the play-in games that play into our bracket of 64. And I think that's because the NCAA tournament in the American sports calendar is the perfect amount for our short little attention spans. Because if you expand it, I think you lose the casual sports fan that allows the NCAA tournament to sort of have its grip. Because you think about, where the NBA is. The NBA is kind of in that lull before the playoff push really starts. You think about Major League Baseball. It's you're in spring training, but you haven't really gotten started yet. You are about a month after the Super Bowl. You are, maybe if you're diehard into spring practice and spring ball, but even that doesn't really start to take over in terms of newsy developments in football until April. And I just think that if you're going to get, Joe down in accounting, and Claudia, the vice president of accounts receivables, and everybody that doesn't watch sports and everybody that fills out their bracket because of what animal would win and what color is their favorite, I think if you have the NCAA tournament one weekend longer, it's too long.
Yeah.
You've got the first weekend, Sweet 16, Elite 8, and then honestly, a lot of people check out. I mean, we watch the Final Four here in the great state of North Carolina because the people who listen to this unprecedented statewide platform understand that college basketball and the Final Four, national championships, like that is something that we hold in high regard and hold in high esteem. But I just think that if you make the NCAA tournament longer, you will lose some of the audience. It is the 2 weekends of those, the first and second round, and then the Sweet 16 and the Elite 8, that is the perfect amount of time to be able to get somebody to parachute into college basketball, think they know everything, watch every single game, and then totally forget about college basketball until February. So my expansion pushback happens with the calendar, not with the count of the teams.
Okay, I'll compromise with you on that one. I think that's my fear, is that 76, when does it eventually become 84? When does it eventually become 96? Like, when eventually do we just make it another weekend? I think that's the fear for me, is that it already is something great that people invest in. But the more you add, I feel like it waters down the product. And that's my biggest fear, is that eventually too much of a good thing is that eventually becomes a bad thing. And I think the NCAA might be pushing itself too far.
I saw in the college football playoff, a lot of people liked having more playoff games. They weren't great, and so they fixed the seeding. But, a lot of people were super excited. I had my issues with it. I'm more of a regular season purist myself. But
likewise,
that's never been really the interest in college basketball. I mean, shoot, ACC conference basketball tournament championships are sometimes celebrated beyond even the regular season title. Like, you win the regular season title in ACC basketball, it's like, oh yeah, that's a nice banner. Mm-hmm. That's a nice trophy. You do cut down nets, but what feels like the real championship? The NC State men's basketball program, we were ACC champions. Well, not in the regular season. You were playing on Tuesday in the ACC tournament.
You were.
But you won the conference tournament, and so you were the champions. It is that tournament play that is part of, basketball at its highest level. So I think that for the NCAA tournament and sort of where it sits in the national consciousness, if you were to expand it by another weekend, I think that's a little bit too much. I think that in growing, it just leads, it is too much in line with everything else we've seen in college sports, which is anything that will be able to, all right, are you a connoisseur of olive oil?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so about first press, second press, third press, the ways that you get from virgin to extra virgin, all the different levels to it. Like, we are beyond our third press of the olive in college sports. And so I think that it falls in line with what I've seen across the industry, the expansion, because it just means more across the board in every single Excel spreadsheet.
Chip Patterson, CBS Sports. Give him a follow at Chip_Patterson. You mentioned the ACC. When I see the expansion of the NCAA tournament or the possible expansion of the NCAA tournament. For me, I feel like schools like Wake Forest or NC State, if the tournament expands, there's no excuse for missing the tournament now. If you're some of these kind of mid-tier programs or even like a Pitt, there's no reason why you should miss the tournament anymore. If they're expanding by 8 schools, you should be in it every single year. Like the standard for some of these programs is going to have to change.
Well, that's also why I think it's expanding, because the thought is you're going to fill it with Rutgers. You're going to fill it with Pitt. You're going to fill it with power conference programs that might have less than impressive conference records. Maybe we are going to get some more power conference programs with somewhat flimsy resumes. It's going to change the way you schedule. It's going to change your goals. I still think making it to the NCAA tournament and then winning in the NCAA tournament are worthy goals for every single ACC program.
Sure.
So, yeah, absolutely. It's funny. Do you know where we're going to see it first, Dennis?
What's that?
Coaching contracts.
Yeah.
Because coaching contracts have bonuses for different levels of achievement. And so there is a coach, many coaches probably, who signed contracts in college football for a bonus to make the college football playoff that was written when the top 4 teams made the college football playoff. And now are we rewriting it? Does Josh Heupel at Tennessee, does he still get the 4-team playoff level of bonus money for making a 12-team playoff and getting your doors blown off at Ohio State? One and done. See ya, Tennessee, in the college football playoff. So, yeah, you want to talk about the standards and how they're going to change or how they need to change. One place we will start to see that with how the coaches are rewarded or held to those changing standards if it doesn't, in fact, expand.
Yeah, and we might see is a little bit of less base salary, more incentive. You never know. That's a great question. There's going to be a trickle-down effect for sure. Chip Patterson, CBS Sports. Speaking of contracts and coaches, we did see with Bill Belichick's contract that was released to us about 6 months ago or so, that revenue sharing for football at North Carolina is going to be $13 million. And what we saw in his contract, I don't know if that may have been adjusted or how that's necessarily going to work overall, but we did see Bubba Cunningham earlier this week announce that 4 sports at North Carolina are going to receive revenue sharing money. It's going to be football, men's and women's basketball, as well as baseball. I'm curious, Chip, from what we've seen some schools announce, like Ohio State's doing 4 sports. We've seen some schools say, hey, 6 sports are going to get some revenue share. Are teams or schools just really just kind of figuring this out on the fly in terms of how much we're going to give, what sports we're going to give, and are we just going to see things just really annually just be redone every year by schools?
Well, no, it's not on the fly right now.
Yeah.
People that we had talked to had put together their budgets and their spreadsheets all the way back to March or April, because the time for the House settlement, like when it could have gone through, was a long time ago. And so athletic departments, athletic directors, they had already made these decisions a while ago. And so, yeah, it could be evaluated on a year-to-year basis. Now, as to the number of sports, which sports you select, one of the sort of general philosophies of revenue sharing is that you are sharing revenue from your media rights deals.
Yeah.
So what sports are the sports that are getting featured for the University of North Carolina, for ACC schools? What are the ones that are getting featured on ESPN and the ACC network? Like, what are the sports that are really driving home the revenue and the value of that contract with Disney? Like it is the sports that were mentioned right there. So I think the fact that it was football, men's, women's basketball, and baseball, like those are the prominent sports from a media rights perspective. So with the idea being that you are sharing some of the media rights pie with the players, similar to the way a professional league would, then it makes total sense. Those are the ones that North Carolina selected. Now, will it be, a shifting, changing number on a year-to-year basis? Maybe. But when we talk about these sports, we also understand that this is the base level of your roster salary, like your roster salary that is not a roster salary, because the revenue share, your $13 million for North Carolina football, since that's what you just mentioned, is the base level. And then there is NIL that can go on top of that as well to be able to make things work. So, I am anticipating that if $13 million is the revenue share from North Carolina football, the total roster spending is a number that is larger than that. And I think that that's going to be the case at a lot of places, especially the ones that are trying to compete at a top 25 or higher level.
Speaking of NIL, I'm sure there are other sports, and I'm sure North Carolina had to factor this in some way, shape, or form. I'm sure every sport is doing this. Is with NIL, there might be, like, for example, their women's soccer team just won a national championship. Their women's lacrosse team just won a national championship. Their field hockey team is phenomenal, has won 5 of the last 7 national championships. I'm sure there probably schools are looking at, hey, you know what? These sports are going to be taken care of financially with NIL. Plus, you have increase of scholarships. North Carolina is increasing their scholarship limit. That in and of itself, for non-revenue sports or for non-headcount sports, being able to put athletes on full scholarship is just a financial benefit to these athletes in and of itself as well. But that's also a revenue gap that has to still be made up by these universities, whether it's naming rights to stadiums, selling advertising spots on their football fields, whatever it might be. Schools are going to have to get creative in terms of how they still generate the money in order to fill the gap.
Yeah, or cut sports.
Or cut sports. North Carolina said they're keeping all 28.
Yeah. It's not happening everywhere.
That's it. Very true.
You were flying to that conference soccer game, and now you're taking a bus.
Yeah.
You were staying in a nice little 4-star with a convention center. Now you're staying at a motel. No, I mean, I don't know. I don't want to trash any hotel chains on here, but you're at
a 3-star with a continental breakfast with waffle iron.
Yeah,
I get it.
like there's going to be a lot of different ways that that gap ends up being made up. But again, the thing that is really important, I think, for fans to understand is that while the world seems to be changing in technicality with the rules, there has been such a long run up to this. I mean, 1 year or more of planning with even an understanding of what kind of number we'd be talking about with $20.5 million to be distributed across all of your different sports. North Carolina at 13 is on the lower end. 13 to 16 or 17 is my understanding in college football. And again, that's just sort of your base with where then you come over top. Because I tell you what, if they passed around the hat in the NIL no rev share era and they were able to collect $15, $16, $17 million, well, they're not expecting to take much less when they pass the hat around once again. So now all of a sudden we're looking at rosters that in total might be upwards in the lands of $25, $30 million with rev share and NIL on top of it. So I think that you are always going to be able to do whatever you are motivated to do. There are extreme NIL examples in softball. There are extreme NIL examples in all kinds of non-revenue sports. Because there is a desire to be able to be that great. So at the University of North Carolina, I think they should be able to plug the holes. I think they should be able to figure these things out. I know that recent documents revealed that some of the teachers, some of the faculty at North Carolina is like, well, why can we not get this lab funded? But now all of a sudden we're giving out $20.5 million to the athletes. Make that make sense.
Yeah.
So it's friction everywhere. I've heard stories of coaches that are their athletic directors are having to keep coaches for fighting over scraps. I mean, it's a really, really tough scenario, and one that is sort of happening because some of it is, as you said, being figured out on the fly.
Chip Patterson, CBS Sports, joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. Dennis Cox sitting in for Adam Gold this afternoon. Victoria Vonecker producing the show. I did see that earlier this week, or maybe it was last week, that the Big 12 and has have a bit of a partnership with CBS. I think it might be some of the sub-licensing agreement with ESPN was for some basketball games. I remember the Big 12 commissioner, I think it was last year, was discussing possibly unbundling their media rights for sports. Like, for example, selling football or maybe basketball separately from all the other sports. If we see an unbundle potentially in the future, maybe 5-6 years from now, would that be a gateway for power conference football to break away from their current media contracts and kind of sell it in and of itself together like we see the NFL sells its media rights. Do you see that possibly happening down the line? And that way that revenue that is generated from football directly can be funneled directly to football players?
I think it would only work through the college football playoff.
Okay.
I've heard a lot because the NCAA doesn't really run college football's postseason and has not run college football's postseason for a very long time. You know, the college football playoff is an individual entity that, you know, while it is literally the same universities and the same conference commissioners that also sit on all these boards and run the NCAA, you know, it is operating totally unto itself. Men's basketball, women's basketball, baseball, all the other Olympic sports are all still tied to the NCAA at the highest levels. But the television contract for the college football playoff and the college football playoff itself are all sort of running together. So if you want to talk about any kind of breakaway, it would be through the college football playoff. The idea that it would no longer be FBS or 1A subdivision, that it would just be the college football playoff division. Yeah. Something along those lines. And that's where, you know, the idea about unbundling and selling different TV rights, I will say that there is, you know, a lot of value to be had across the board for the way that conferences do strike up these deals and do try to, you know, work with their media rights partners. Sometimes it works out really well, sometimes less so. But I would say that if you want to look at a football breakaway, the vehicle that it can get done is through the CFP.
I'm curious to see where all this is going to go. I think no one really knows. It's constantly moving. It's constantly evolving, Chip. And I don't know. In all honesty, it feels like for us as fans, we are starting to see some of the things or many of the things that we enjoyed, especially here in the state of North Carolina, from either a football or basketball standpoint, are kind of starting to go away. The fact that NC State and North Carolina and men's basketball aren't playing each other twice this season is mind-boggling. But that's where we're going now in college sports. The things that made it great, we're no longer getting in some ways. In terms of rivalries and, I mean, Oklahoma State don't play each other in football anymore. To me, you're taking away the things that makes college sports so great and all this pursuit for money. And I don't know if the health of college sports is going to be in a good place years from now.
So I had a conversation this morning with Dia Bell.
Okay.
Dia Bell is a 5-star quarterback in the class of 2026.
All right.
He is committed to the Texas Longhorns. He is the son of Raja Bell. And to hear him talk about the way that he is excited to, you know, he is helping recruit the recruiting class. Like Dennis, it's the idealized conversation that you would have had 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago. I talk to these kids and they don't sound that different. The world that they grow up in is wildly different.
Very much true.
Experiences that they've had. But the ones that are really driven, the ones that are put together well, they still make you remember why you love college sports. Dennis, you take that walk into a stadium, you smell the smells, you hear the marching band, you see the people together. I can't speak to every sport. I keep echoing football because it's the sport that I cover the closest and the sport that I know the best. But the community that is tens of thousands of people getting together in one place where many of them have been getting together for decades or generations, like those. Everyone freaks out about how college sports is ending and not being able to necessarily know who's on the team, especially in basketball. I get that frustration, but take yourself to an event, look these kids in the eye, watch the competition on the field. It's still awesome because every single time I've talked to college players, you know, whether it's college football playoff expansion, conference realignment, they don't care. When do we play? Like, look, just tell me when to play. And
Fair point.
If you really love the competition, the next generations and the generations that are coming up now, like they still love that competition. So I am not doom and gloom about college sports because college sports ultimately comes down to the humans, and the humans involved still care.
That's a fair point. I mean, I'm a former college athlete myself. I still get flashbacks and goosebumps anytime I even go to cover a game. I'm like, man, I remember these game days. I remember that feeling, and it doesn't go away. You're right. I just think from a fan perspective, of, like, again, I'll bring up the fact that State and Carolina aren't playing each other twice in basketball.
Hey, no, talk to your coaches. I'm not trying to say, like email your local legislators here. But if you want to look at like who can actually like change that, it is the head coach, head coaches at NC State and North Carolina, because they are in control more so than football coaches are. Basketball coaches are in control of that non-conference schedule. NC State's playing Virginia in September this year, and that is not an ACC game in football. And so, I mean, we've seen it with North Carolina and Wake Forest in football. You could absolutely put together a game between the two rivals and have it be a non-conference game. So I get that, the ACC trying to reduce its conference schedule has had many casualties, among them not getting a home and home between North Carolina and NC State. But that problem is the most fixable of the many problems that we have mentioned here in the last, 15 minutes or so.
That's a good point. I'll end on this, Chip. I don't know if Will Wade and Hubert Davis are on speaking terms, especially after Will Wade threw shade at Hubert Davis for how they didn't use Van Allen Lubin at a recent gathering. So I don't know if those two are on speaking terms, so we'll have to wait and see on that one, Chip. Chip, thanks so much for your time. Give him a follow at Chip_Patterson. Check him out, his work on CBSSports.com and CBS Sports HQ. Chip, thank you. Appreciate it, my man.
Sounds good. Y'all be well.
Again, that's Chip Patterson joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. Dennis Cox sitting in for Adam Gold. The NBA draft is tonight. Victoria. I'm excited, but until we get to that point, make sure we take care of ourselves. We need to stretch, maybe place some bets, and make some money. Next.
Talking sports, so you don't have to pretend to know stuff. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
At North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance, you're more than a policy, you're family. With offices in every county, we're close by when it matters most. Our local agents customize coverage to fit your life. And our award-winning claims team delivers fast, quality repairs. It's no surprise Forbes ranked us the #1 auto insurer in America. North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance. Helping you is what we do best.
It's the first day of the first grade, and she found a new best friend. It's a laid-back Sunday afternoon you wish would never end.
The homemade taste of Bluebell and good friends gathered round. The good old days are being made right now.
You'll be one smart cookie when you try Bluebell Cookie Cake Ice Cream. A sweet cream ice cream loaded with chocolate chip cookie cake pieces and swirls of chocolate and vanilla icing. This cookie cake ice cream really takes the cake.
The good old days are being made right now.
The good old days are being made right now.
Look for Bluebell ice cream at your local grocer and pick up your favorite flavor today.
The North Carolina Healthcare Association invites you to listen to this month's podcast, Conversations on the State of Healthcare. This month, we're talking about a major collaboration that's making waves in Iredell County. Kim Holland, Development Coordinator for the Iredell Health Foundation, tells us about Whole 3.
The goal of the collaborative is about addressing the complex and interwoven challenges that many families in Iredell County face. And, things like poverty, lack of access to health care, and educational disparities. So it's designed as truly a collaborative. It's community-led initiative. We're bringing together schools, nonprofits, health systems, and families to build a system that actually works for families, not just around them.
Learn more and join our latest Conversations on the State of Healthcare wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. And learn more by visiting nchealthcare.org.
My name is Gregory, and I am the primary caregiver for our 5 grandchildren. We have worked to be a source of love and stability in their lives, and Medicaid has been a source of stability for us. Medicaid helped with all the visits to the doctor, pharmacy, dentist, orthodontist, mental health therapist, and it has helped our grandchildren grow healthy and strong. Our grandkids call me Papa or Pop Pop, and I'm speaking up to protect NC Medicaid.
Learn more at ncchild.org/speakup. That's ncchild.org/speakup.
Healthcare? Why?
Why is it so hard?
Healthcare is broken.
At Blue Cross and Blue Shield of North Carolina, we get it.
Really?
Really. That's why we're making healthcare better for all, starting with you.
Really?
Really. We're making plans easier to navigate by putting all your benefits, prescriptions, and details on your computer and phone. Convinced?
No, but it's a start.
We'll take it. Blue Cross North Carolina, making healthcare better for all, starting with you.
As public power customers, we experience fewer outages and faster restoration than customers of other electric providers. But the benefits of having a locally owned electric system go far beyond unbeaten reliability. Our local public power employees support our community, providing electric hookups for events, installing and maintaining ballpark lights, holiday lights, traffic lights, street lights, and more. Local people working together to meet local needs. That's the value of public power. Learn more at electricities.com.
This is Adam Gold.
There will be tushes pushed in the NFL in 2025.
Pushing tushes.
There you go.
Happy Hump Day!
That's brilliant.
The Adam Gold Show.
Happy Hump Day indeed. Happy Hump Day indeed.
It is Hump Day.
Hope everyone out there is enjoying this Wednesday. Hope everyone's staying cool. This weather sucks. I said it yesterday, Victoria. I'm going to say it again. This weather stinks.
Yeah.
I hate it.
Yeah.
I hate it.
It's gross.
Miserable. Just sweating all the time.
I know.
So yesterday after the show, went to the gym, worked out, not to brag.
Same.
But I went to the gym, worked out yesterday. Worked up a sweat, obviously. Took the dog and all that stuff out. Then took a shower before going to bed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Woke up this morning, took the dog out on a walk, drenched in sweat again, had to take another shower.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
I know.
Hate this.
I hate that at the gym, they don't realize it's 8,000 degrees outside. And so the temperature on the inside, I'm like, I'm sweating in here. Can we turn the air conditioning on?
Make it a comfortable 73, 72, whatever it is. I know you understand, like, I'm working up a sweat. I get it. But you know what? Maybe change your gym membership, Victoria. Maybe go to a place that doesn't have a sauna. You can just sit outside.
I know.
There's your sauna.
They're more expensive.
I know.
Planet Fitness is cheap.
Exactly. Keep that one. You don't need Don't pay for one that has a sauna.
No.
Just step outside.
No, that's it. Yeah.
Sweat off 5 pounds walking to the car.
Mm-hmm.
Jeez Louise. I actually did step on the scale. I was like, wow, I actually have lost some weight.
Yeah, just sweat it out.
I think it's just from sweating it out.
Yeah, that's all it is. It's too hot to eat food half the time.
Stay hydrated, folks. That's all I can say. Stay hydrated. It's the Adam Gold Show. Dennis Cox sitting in for Adam Gold this afternoon. Victoria Voneck are producing the show, as always. And when you work out, Victoria, it's important to take care of your body and stretch. We are at that point.
Again, which I need to do more
Seventh
often.
inning
I'm literally doing that like as we do this now. But there is something also to keep in mind that apparently is very important. And some people feel a certain type of way about this. Feng shui. There are certain people out there who really live and breathe like vibes. And there's a TikToker, you know this is going to be good because it came from the TikToks, but there's a Feng Shui expert from putting something on TikTok talking about 4 things that you really should not keep by your bed to help you in your life.
Okay, so Feng Shui, for people that don't know, it's all about like things you surround yourself with in your spaces to bring harmony into your environment, promoting well-being and prosperity.
The aura and the
all those
vibes and all that. Yeah, all that thing. Good vibes. So this expert on TikTok recently, you know it's going to be great, put the top 4 things to avoid keeping beside your bed.
Okay.
Now, I guess it's okay to have in the bedroom somewhere, just not beside your bed. So, number 1, sharp objects.
Okay, makes sense.
So, I can see, because I'm thinking, like, oh, in case you have a nightmare, and you're like, let me reach for something, like, or I hear a noise, and you reach for something, and oh, it's just, a fly or something. No, he says sharp metal things like scissors, nail clippers, things like that, quote, easily pierce your energy shield.
Oh, my energy shield. Okay.
Yes.
What video game is this?
Did not realize that I had an energy shield, but it will pierce it if it's beside your bed. So, none of that stuff. Also, number 2, a trash can. Okay.
Wait, what? Why shouldn't I have a trash can next to the bed?
I know. I mean, I don't know, but he says it holds, again, quote, murky energy. Even if it's just crumbled up paper, he says breathing in that energy can negatively affect your health.
Okay, well, when I blow my nose because I'm sick and I want to throw the tissue away, I got to get up?
You got to get all the way up now and out and wake up now completely.
Trying to go back to sleep.
Exactly. This is why people do this stuff. Number 3, medications or medical records. Okay, medications I can understand because some people have to take something either right before bed or like right when they wake up.
Yeah, sure.
And so medication, I can understand. Medical records, a little weird. But he says it allegedly affects your mood and mental state. So I don't know why Tylenol next to the bed is going to give you a bad mental state. But I guess it does.
I didn't sleep well last night. I had a bottle of Aleve next to me.
Oh, man, that BC powder really got me twisted. And then number 4, they say, which this is ridiculous because I have plants. Fresh flowers are bad, but only if you're in a relationship. There's but only this. It says if you're single, it's fine. But if you're married, in a relationship, any of that stuff, it invites, quote, third-party involvement. And that, to me, is just weird.
So if you're in a relationship, no fresh flowers next to the bed?
Yeah, I guess the Feng Shui guy says it's bad. You're leaving the door open for other bad things.
Feng Shui guy needs some Feng Shui. I don't know.
Right. I think he needs to go with Aaron Rodgers to the darkness or something.
Oh,
He's probably drinking a lot of ayahuasca, so I don't know.
No sharp object.
Yes. No sharp metal objects like scissors or nail clippers were his examples. A trash can, don't do that by the bed. Medications and medical records. And then fresh flowers. Yeah, because fresh
flowers.
Right? I don't know what we're doing here, but I don't know. It's so weird.
So dumb.
Who knows? But you know what's not weird? And it's very kind of nostalgic in a way. I mean, maybe for people who remember this. Do you remember the song "The Boy Is Mine" from Brandy and Monica? Like way back when?
Yeah, it's a long time ago.
Total throwback. Yes, 25 years to be exact. So I'm a huge music nerd, and so I saw this, and I thought, for the people who remember this song back in 1998, "The Boy Is Mine," they're actually doing a tour together. This is so
really?
cute. I feel like, why can't the Spice Girls do this too? I would totally go to a Spice Girls concert. The Boy Is Mine tour is happening. That's what it's called. It's going to have Brandy, Monica, Kelly Rowland, also some American Idol winner. I did not watch American Idol, so I don't know this person. Jamal Roberts will be there. But yes, Brandy says this tour is a celebration of growth, sisterhood, the love of our fans that they have given us from day one. And Monica says, Brandy and I have been on our own unique journeys, and coming back together in this way is a reminder of power, strength, and real music. I think it's fun. I love it. To me, it's just nostalgic, so I think it's fun. I'm all for it. We'll who knows? I'm all for it. And then let's see here. Next up.
Okay.
You know what people are all for?
What?
Trusted brands.
Of course, absolutely.
And
we all have the brands that we individually trust.
Exactly. You know what? I'm going to save this one for tomorrow because I think we'll have more time. I think this one's a little more involved, but you know what you should trust? Not really sometimes. Is our bets.
It's our bets, yeah.
Place your bets. Here. I bet you slice into the woods $100.
Gambling is illegal at Bushwood, sir, and I never slide.
Okay, you can owe me.
I owe you nothing.
You know, I wish I trusted my own bets yesterday, Victoria, because I actually had two of my bets hit yesterday.
Did you?
I had Shohei Ohtani, anytime homer. It went yard yesterday.
Nice.
And I had the Reds at plus money over the New York Yankees at home. They won yesterday as well. I would have hit on 2 of my 3, Victoria, if I actually did it. But, I didn't trust myself.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, Victoria, kick things off for us. Play some bets.
I know. I'm just not even going to touch my Cubbies because it's just this Cardinal situation is gross. But I did get my New York Mets and Braves bet yesterday. I took the over. Braves won. I'm going to go back to this game because the Braves are red hot against the Mets at their dismay. And they're actually underdogs finally, even though they've beat them now like 5 times, I believe. So give me the Braves to beat the Mets again. That's plus 130.
Okay, let me go. Do I just go straight minus 20,000 that Cooper Flagg's going to be the number 1 overall pick?
Sure.
Can I just go ahead and do that? Actually, this is the betting favorite. This might be some easy money. Cooper Flagg's teammate, Con Knipple, the 4th overall pick as a minus 250. Yesterday was like a minus 125. It's already up to minus 250. So I'm going to go ahead and take that.
Nice.
That's where the Hornets pick, baby.
Why not? So looking at who is pitching for the Pirates today, it's Paul Skeens.
He is.
So they're in Milwaukee taking on the Brewers. I'm just going to throw it out there. Even though the Pirates, I don't know why I'm ever picking the Pirates to win, but Skeens is here, so give me the Pirates to win. Oh, and this over-under, it's set low for nowadays. It's at 6.5. Give me the over 6.5. I'll probably regret that. Plus 250.
Okay. I'm actually going to go back to the Yankees and Reds. Okay. Give me anytime home run, Aaron Judge plus 160.
Oh, plus 160 for Aaron Judge. Nice. And last but not least, not touching my Cubs, but I still want the White Sox to stink. So give me the Diamondbacks to beat the White Sox today. I'll take the over 8, and that's plus 160.
Give me Mookie Betts, Dodgers, anytime home run, plus 310. We're going yard today, folks. We are going yard. It's the Adam Gold Show. Dennis Cox sitting in for Adam Gold this afternoon. If you missed any of the show, make sure you check it out on the Best of the Adam Gold Show podcast. But we do have some sound bites regarding tonight's NBA draft coming up. Wall of Sound on the Adam Gold Show next.
Chapel Hill to Charlotte, Greenville to Greensboro. Your sports, his state. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
WakeMed Brain and Spine wants to stop strokes in their tracks. If you think someone is having a stroke, use the acronym B-FAST and assess these functions. B, balance. Do they have trouble walking? E, eyes. Are they having trouble seeing? F, face. Does their smile droop? A, arms. Ask the person to raise their arms and notice if one drifts down. S, speech. Is it slurred? And T, time. It is important. Call 911 and get to the hospital as quickly as you can. To check your stroke risk assessment, visit wakemed.org.
Breaking news, and this one is almost unbelievable.
Yeah, it's all about new customers at Bet365 because they get $150 in bonus bets when they bet $5, win or lose. And even better, bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, and player props.
There you have it. Bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. And see why. It's never ordinary at Bet365. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in North Carolina. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov. T&Cs apply. Available in app only.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer? Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. It's the Sleep Number 4th of July sale. Save over $600 on our King P5 smart bed, our lowest price of the season. Plus, get free home delivery with most smart beds, limited time. All Sleep Number smart beds offer temperature solutions for your best sleep. Check it out at a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com today. It's time for the Coastal Scholar Athlete of the Month.
Hello, Creighton Blackwell here again to celebrate this month's Scholar Athlete of the Month. Today, we are at Sanderson High School, where we announce and celebrate the newest Scholar Athlete of the Month, Nathan Fife.
He's a guy with good work ethic, and he leads by example, off the court and on the court.
he's a great guy to be around. He's fun. He's always in a positive mindset, or he's working hard in the gym every day. That's how I describe him, really.
He's always doing the right thing, and he's someone that you can trust and feel comfortable around, and always looking out for the best interest of others, for sure.
What does it mean to win this award?
It means everything. I mean, it's something you start off at the beginning of the season, just coming in every day and working hard, and this kind of comes along with that, because I think if you put in the time and effort that these things will come naturally, and I think I did a good job of that. Probably the biggest people that's helped me along, my family. They're helping me work out every day in the off season, and they're at all my games. They've been a really big support system for me. And then my coaches, they've been there every step of the way, and my coaches and teammates, they push me every day in practice, and that's helped me get to where I am today.
Congratulations, Nathan.
For over 20 years, 99.9 The Fan and Coastal Credit Union have been recognizing scholar athletes at Triangle area schools. If you'd like to nominate a high school athlete, text AWARD to 919-860-5326.
To some, a baby's babbling doesn't mean much, but it does. Especially if there's no babbling at all. Little to no babbling by 12 months or later is just one of the possible signs of autism in children. Learn more at autismspeaks.org. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
Find what you love, love what you find. A Total Wine and More. There's so much waiting for you. All kinds of beers and thousands of wines. Guides in the know and prices so low. It just might blow your mind. You love and love what you find.
With curbside pickup and delivery available, you'll always find what you love, only at Total Wine & More.
Drink responsibly, B21.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Big truck accidents can cause life-changing injuries, and life-changing injuries deserve life-changing money. I know big truck wrecks, and I know how to fight those big insurance companies. If you've been hurt by a big truck, contact us at ritchielaw.com. I'm on top of it.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
Paul George, Scottie Pippen, a little bit of Grant Hill in him, but Scottie Pippen, he could be a play starter, he could be a playmaker. He has the ability to make shots. He's got defensive range. His feel for the game, his competitive spirit, his understanding of taking what the defense gives him, impacting the game defensively with his length. Like I call it defensive range because of his length. His 7-foot wingspan, to me, it's absolutely, he impacts the game on both ends. The guy is so versatile, but he never chases it. He takes over games sometimes by being a play starter, sometimes by being a playmaker, sometimes by being scoring. That's who he is.
Seth Greenberg of ESPN discussing Cooper Flagg, who will hear his name called tonight. Number 1 overall. I think it's like the worst kept secret, of course, obviously. It's like when Zion was drafted. It's like, yeah, everyone knew who the number 1 overall pick was going to be. Duh. Give me Cooper Flagg tonight. You know what? I say this, Victoria. When it comes to the draft, by the way, the Adam Gold Show, Dennis Cox sitting in for Adam Gold, Victoria producing the show. When it comes to the draft, any draft, whether it's baseball, whether it's hockey, whether it's NBA, whether it's football, whatever it is, if you're the number 1 overall pick, when the draft starts, you should be announcing your pick. Like, the announcement of the pick should start the draft. Not like, hey, you're on the clock now. You've been on the clock for months. Weeks at least. Like, you've known this. Why wait? Like, all right, we're on the clock now. Oh, it's our turn to pick? I didn't know. Who we're going to take? Get the thing started right away. Speaking of the NBA draft, we're going to hear plenty of things regarding the NBA in the Wall of Sound.
The Wall of Sound is a function of this studio. There's no doubt about it.
Victoria, let's go ahead and jump to that Ace Bailey cut and the question that he was asked about his pre-draft process. Let's go ahead and jump to that clip. So you asked me earlier this in the show, Victoria, about Ace Bailey from Rutgers, who highlight reel off the charts. But the consistency of his play is a bit of a question. Is that sometimes the stuff that's supposed to look or supposed to be easy looks a little bit more difficult than what it's supposed to be. But then he also makes the difficult plays look kind of easy. Again, no consistency with his game. Ace Bailey is also the only American player that has not done a pre-draft workout. And the reason why I say American players is that some of the players that are in the NBA draft that might be playing for club teams and pro teams overseas, if they're still in their playoffs, don't have the opportunity to do those private workouts. So again, that's why I say American player. He's the only American player that didn't do a pre-draft workout with any organization in the entire league. And Ace Bailey was asked this question about his pre-draft process.
As you have been preparing for the draft, you've had a little bit of an unorthodox pre-draft process. What has been your mindset behind it?
Focus on basketball. I mean, end of the day, it's basketball. I mean, don't worry about the other stuff. I let my people around me handle that. The only thing I'm focused on is the basketball part.
He let the people around him handle it. And I think that's the problem, Victoria. I think that's the people around him are saying, you don't need to do this pre-draft workouts and all this stuff, meetings with these teams, because the meetings and the workouts that you're supposed to do with these teams that they're trying to set up with you so they can evaluate you further about where they might draft you, that is the basketball. That is basketball. That's your job interview. That's the question I think that a lot of people are having is like, is he getting bad advice? And Jay Billis of ESPN also discussed and gave his thoughts on how Ace Bailey has handled the pre-draft process.
I have no problem with him saying no to workouts. And if he doesn't want to go number 3 or number 4, go to those places, I get that. He's given up a lot of money if he decides, that, hey, I'd rather not go number 3 to this play, to Philly. I'd be more comfortable going 6, 7, or 8. Now, he's given up millions of dollars if that's his choice, but that's a choice. Eli Manning didn't want to go where he was about to be drafted. John Elway, the same thing. I mean, if he's got leverage and wants to use it, fine. I don't have a problem with that because I'm not a big fan of NBA workouts, these 1-on-1, 3-on-3 things. But one thing I do think that is a mistake, if you schedule a workout, you need to go. Or you need to give advance notice that you're not going to do it. That's just being professional. But you have to, at least I try to keep in mind, he's barely 18 years old. I mean, he's just a little bit older than Cooper Flagg.
I think we sometimes lose sight of that, Victoria. And I think Jay Billis makes a great point. These guys are 18 years old. You're not always going to be making the right decision and the right choices when you are 18 years old. Even if you are getting good advice from some people that you trust, doesn't necessarily mean that you are going to make the right decision yourself. I mean, when I was 18 years old, I didn't make all the right decisions. I was a freshman in college. I didn't make all the right decisions, but things eventually did work out. But to the point of, Jay Billis does bring up a good point. He has the right to say, hey, you know what? I'm not going to do any workouts. That's his right to say that. But where the point of contention is for Ace Bailey is the fact that these workouts were already set up and that these teams and organizations already went through the process logistically of setting things up and then either doesn't show or cancels things last minute. That's, again, where the lack of professionalism comes in. But if he's willing to sit there and say, hey, you know what? I don't want to go to Philly at 3. I don't want to go to Charlotte at 4. That's his right to say so. And if he wants to try and influence to the point where he gets drafted by another team at a later spot, that's fine. And as Jay Billis just said, he is sacrificing a lot of money by doing so. But if you're willing to make that sacrifice, then hey, you know what? That's on you. That's your potential money, not mine. I'm not going to say what you should or shouldn't do with your money or what your potential money should be. Again, that's not me. That's not me. That's your choice. Speaking of the NBA, there's actually been a lot of trades that have been agreed to over the last few days, including Drew Holiday getting shipped out from Boston, as well as the Boston Celtics trading Kristaps Porzingis to the Atlanta Hawks. Shams Charania, ESPN, their NBA insider, discussed the Celtics trading away Kristaps Porzingis.
Late last night, the Celtics trade Drew Holiday to Portland, and the process of getting under the second apron and out of this financial situation that they've been in, almost $500 million in the tax bill and overall salaries. The Celtics have traded Kristaps Porzingis to the Atlanta Hawks. And Terrence Mann, a number 22 overall pick, goes to Brooklyn in a 3-team trade. That's in Georges Niang and a future second-round pick to Boston. And for the Hawks and the Nets, this is really an opportunistic opportunity to go get Terrence Mann if you're Brooklyn. And for Atlanta, to get a dynamic big man like Porzingis. Yeah. But this is really about the Celtics. We're seeing a championship team in 2024 now starting to dismantle to an extent because they were so deep into luxury tax. This now gets them $180 million of savings in these moves.
So I don't know if you heard it right there because there was the music and stuff in the background. They're saving with these moves of trading Drew Holiday and Kristaps Porzingis because you're getting, like, the NBA, their cap stuff is so convoluted. They have, like, these things called aprons that if you're spending over a certain amount of money, you have to pay a luxury tax because you're going over the salary cap. They're saving by making these trades $180 million in luxury tax. That's how much money, like cash, they're saving, $180 million by making these moves. Now, this upcoming season, certainly you have Jaylen Brown, but Jason Tatum had the Achilles injury in the playoffs. Probably not going to play this season, is my guess. Probably just not going to play this season at all, which makes perfect sense. Coming off a major injury like that, the fact that it came in the playoffs, get healthy. Get as strong as you can. Maybe Boston's looking at it as a sense of, like, not like a rebuild, but a little bit of a reset year, possibly. Hey, you know what? We're probably not going to win it this year. Let's go ahead and get something back in return for some of these guys and get under that luxury tax and all that kind of stuff. Again, the NBA's, this is where I love hockey, Victoria. This is where I love and appreciate hockey when it comes to their salary cap.
One of many reasons.
If the average annual value of your contract is X amount of dollars on average per year, your salary cap hit for every year of your contract is that money, is X, whatever it is. So if you sign a 5-year deal at $25 million, your average annual salary or average annual value of that contract is $5 million a year. Well, then guess what? Your salary cap hit is $5 million. It's cut and dry. It's very simple. I love it. Speaking of hockey, this is the Adam Gold Show. Dennis Cox sitting in for Adam Gold this afternoon. That's the Wall of Sound. Victoria producing the show. Speaking of hockey, speaking of NHL, there's been a lot of information and rumors floating around about potential players being on the trade block. Rasmus Anderson, the defenseman from the Calgary Flames, could potentially be traded this offseason. Well, a team that's interested is the Carolina Hurricanes. Well, Mitch Marner's going to be the high-priced free agent this upcoming offseason. The team that's interested, it's the Carolina Hurricanes. Hey, there's another potential trade that could be taking place. Hey, goalie John Gibson could be on the move. Another team that could be interested. It's the Carolina Hurricanes. They're linked with so much. And something that we heard yesterday, Victoria, was as the Mitch Marner free agent signing potentially going to the Vegas Golden Knights, that rumor continues to heat up, like as hot as it is outside right now. As that continues to heat up and build, well, there's conversations of, well, Vegas needs to clear some cap space, which means they need to offload one of their players possibly. Does Carolina potentially swoop in and take one of their players away? And I say take, but trade for one of their players. Is it Tomas Hertl? Is it William Karlsson? Is it potentially someone else? Well, we have someone on the inside with the Vegas Golden Knights. Justin Pothier, host of SinBin.Vegas, joins us next on the Adam Gold Show to give us the inside info.
From the heels,
touchdown Carolina,
to the canes.
She scores!
He covers it all. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Listen every afternoon for The Drive with Tim Donnelly.
With free agency coming up, I don't know a lot about economics, but I know this. When there's a little supply, it's going to make the demand high. There's not many centers out there, and the Canes need one, so just be prepared for this. Either you're going to get a player you like, but the cost is going to be too much, or you're going to get a player you don't like, but you'll like the cost. You can't have it all.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 3 to 6 on 99.9 The Fan.
Get ready for July 4th with early savings at Lowe's. Right now, get up to 40% off select major appliances and get an additional 10% off 2 or more select major appliances. Plus, get 3 Stay Green or premium 2 cubic foot mulch bags for just $10. These deals are coming in hot. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 6/25. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. See Lowe's.com for more details. Excludes Alaska and Hawaii.
At Planet Fitness, we're declaring it. This is the year of getting stronger, and you can get started now by saving when you join today. We have all the best-in-class equipment you could ever need, and you can work out your way on your time at any convenient location near you. Most open 24 hours. So let's do this. Join Planet Fitness today and save. Just $1 down, $15 a month.
Offer ends June 27th. Proud partner of the Carolina Hurricanes.
See Home Club for details.
Out on credit cards, struggling with high interest debt? You can pay it all off in days with Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan. Hey, it's Dennis Cox. Get cash out now without touching your low rate first mortgage. No appraisals, no waiting, no BS. The Rapid Equity Loan program at Loan Pronto is amazing. One Loan Pronto client just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. They paid off debt, renovated the kitchen, and cut their monthly expenses by $1,800. That's a huge turnaround. Loan Pronto, instant approvals, low rates, no hard credit pull up front. Listen, your home equity is yours. Use it. Get cash to consolidate your debt down to one easy low monthly payment. Call Loan Pronto now for a free instant appraisal for your home and see how much cash you can get today. Loan Pronto is A+ rated by the BBB and have nearly 2,500 5-star Google reviews. Their service is off the charts. Call now to start the conversation. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. 919-381-1760. Get debt relief now. Loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender. NMLS 166171 on approved credit. NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Hey girl, haven't seen you downtown lately.
Nope, sticking to our go-to places.
You mean like Sharky's?
Well, we love our Sharky's. Best wings and gumbo on the planet. But we never miss the $5 sangrias on Wednesdays at the new Salt and Lime and Mexican pints on Thursdays for $3.
You know my boy loves the House of Hops. No better selection of craft beer in the state. Loves their specials, their food trucks, and you know I love my wine. They have a wonderful selection.
And have I told you about our new takeout spot, Che Empanadas? It's right next to Sharky's. They have 20 different types of authentic Argentinian empanadas, and they are incredible, especially the breakfast ones. You gotta try it.
Sounds perfect. And how awesome is it that they're so close to each other?
Yes.
Give them a try. Che Empanadas, House of Hops, Salt and Lime, and Sharky's. Just a hop, skip, and a jump from each other off Durham Road, Glenwood, and Grove Barton.
When you switch to Progressive, you could save bundling your home and auto. Then you could put that money towards some of the surprisingly more expensive things in life.
May I help you? I just wanted to request a late checkout, please.
Of course. That's $30 per hour for up to 4 hours.
Huh. Okay, but if you can offer a late checkout, then that probably means no one is staying in that room. So if it's empty, maybe I can just stay a few extra hours.
Oh, aren't you adorable?
Life costs a lot, so bundle and you could save with Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states.
This is Adam Gold.
While I'm watching Colombia-Uruguay, not only the end of that match, but the fight in the stands after it.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Heard it got spicy.
That was the most excited fans we have seen in 5 years at Bank of America Stadium. Man, look at all the happy people at Bank of America.
Just took the other kind of football.
Yeah, there you go. More of that.
The Adam Gold Show.
So we're less than a week away from free agency in the NHL. By the way, welcome back to the Adam Gold Show. Dennis Cox sitting in for Adam Gold. Victoria Vodenecker producing the show as always. Again, a week away, less than a week away from free agency. And the big fish in the free agency pond, which is pretty shallow, it is Mitch Marner of the Toronto Maple Leafs. And there's been a lot of rumors of the Carolina Hurricanes being interested in Mitch Marner, that they want to be in on that possibly. They actually tried to trade for Mitch Marner at the trade deadline last year using Mikko Rantanen. Didn't happen, but they've been in on potentially trying to get Mitch Marner for a bit now. But also we're hearing the Vegas Golden Knights as being probably the top team that could get Mitch Marner. But how does that impact Carolina? Well, we got to go to the people that know the on the inside in Vegas, and that's Justin Pothier, host of SinBin.Vegas and writer of SinBin.Vegas, been covering the Vegas Golden Knights since their inception several years ago, joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. Justin, the rumors of Mitch Marner to Vegas, how true is it? Like, are they really all in on trying to get Mitch Marner this offseason?
Yeah, they certainly are. And this, we've seen this from the Golden Knights before. When they want a player desperately, they go ahead and get him, and somehow they make it work. Alex Pietrangelo is the perfect example, where they wanted Pietrangelo, but they didn't have the money. So they sent Stastny along with some picks to the Winnipeg Jets to eat that contract. Then they did the same thing with Nate Schmidt to open up that amount of money so they can get Alex Pietrangelo. This is that same exact situation.
So we saw a couple years ago, even the Carolina Hurricanes took Max Pacioretty as well as Dylan Coghlan for quote-unquote future considerations, which is literally just nothing. So they've done deals before, have Vegas and Carolina. If Vegas really wants to get Mitch Marner, and by all accounts they're going to be going for it, are they going to have to give up a player on their roster in order to make that work? Because of their salary cap, they don't have enough money to make that move. Unless the guy you just mentioned, Alex Pietrangelo, they just put him on long-term IR this upcoming season. Who could potentially get moved off their roster now to make a spot available for Mitch Marner?
Well, so the two names we're seeing the most is Tomas Hertl, which I again, he's a fine player. We've seen in the past couple of years here in Vegas. Honestly, he's underachieved, and I don't think it's because that fans should be really surprised by it. He's an older player, and he's just not doing what he has before. He's not in front of the net. He's not scoring in front of the net. He's very good in the power play still. However, his contract is just not desirable. So, like you said about the Pacioretty deal, the Golden Knights would have to send in a sweetener. They'd have to pay a little bit of a, let's call it a tariff, right, to Carolina or anybody else who wanted to take on Hertl. And I know that the center depth is sort of quiet or sort of low when it comes to free agency. So now that's why William Karlsson is coming into play, because he can bring back a lot or a decent amount. So that way when they trade Hertl or Karlsson, like you said with Pietrangelo, now we're looking at somewhere $16 to $18 million that they can play with. However, they do have to sign a defenseman, but the rest would allow them to go ahead and try to lure in Marner for 13 or 14 a year.
So, by the way, Justin Pothier joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. Dennis Cox sitting in for Adam Gold. Justin Pothier of SinBin.Vegas joining us on the show, covers the Vegas Golden Knights, because we saw yesterday, Justin, again, the potential, I guess, the reports out there that Carolina had been in contacts with Vegas about both Tomas Hertl and William Karlsson. In your eyes, if the better player, who is the better player in your eyes? Is it Karlsson or is it Hertl, and why?
It's no doubt Karlsson. I mean, you're looking at one of a few players that can actually defend and take on Connor McDavid in the postseason. I mean, he's consistently done it anytime they've played in the postseason. For, I think, the second round they did in 2023, and they did this year. So now you're looking at Karlsson as a guy who can go to the East and just defend and be a two-way player against some of the East best centers. So I think Karlsson is right now an all-around better player. Now, is Hertl more skilled, and does he have more highlights, and have we seen more highlights than Hertl? Absolutely. But he's not the same player that he was in San Jose, and I don't think that Carolina would want to give the same in return for Hertl as they would for Karlsson. I think it would cost a little bit more for Karlsson as opposed to Hertl. I think they could just take him on and get a sweetener as well.
So in your eyes, if the contract of Tomas Hertl is a little bit cumbersome in the sense that he has the no movement clause up until July 1st, then once July 1st hits, it's just a 3-team trade list. Is Vegas going to be strapped to the point where even if they want to trade Tomas Hertl, he's going to have to approve wherever he gets traded to? How much of a hindrance is that for the Golden Knights, and would that make William Karlsson a much easier move?
Well, I think William Karlsson right now, they're getting so many calls on William Karlsson that if they needed to trade him for cap-wise, they could. They know that right now. However, they don't want to. I think they would prefer to move guys like Hertl, Barbashev, maybe even another contract, because of the fact that they know how valuable Karlsson is. Everybody else does. So if they are going to trade Hertl, realistically, they're going to say to Tomas, hey, listen, we don't want you, Carolina does. That's kind of how they have in the past. Mm-hmm. And the player looks at it and talks to them and says, you know what, okay, let's get a better start somewhere else. Because when you hear that the team doesn't want you and that they're trying to do anything possible to get rid of you, the player decides, you know what, I don't need enough of this. I'm just going to go where they want me to.
Nah, that's totally fair. By the way, Jack Eichel is set to be a free agent. He can sign a contract extension on July 1st himself. He's making $10 million a year. I'm a big-time Jack Eichel fan. What's the cost going to be to keep Jack Eichel around in Vegas? Because, like you said, they're not afraid to pay big and go big, but if you go after Marner as well, you're also going to have to pay Jack Eichel. It's going to cost a bunch. How much is it going to cost to keep Jack Eichel around?
Well, I think Marner will definitely set the bar, and then let's just say Marner takes a $13 or $14 million, which again is a stretch. I mean, there are teams that could offer more than that, but let's just say it's at $14 million. Now you're looking at the starting point at least at $16 million for Eichel, and you're talking about 8 years. So he's going to want, knowing that the cap is going up in 4 or 5 years even more. 16 million times 8 might not be enough. So they're going to have to work and be creative somehow and open up that money. They will. There is no way that they can let Jack Eichel walk. And if that was the case, I mean, again, this is just a long, down the road. If that was the case and they knew that they couldn't afford him, they would trade him. And so that is very unlikely to happen. So I think with Marner, if they get that Marner deal done, then the next deal after that would be find a defenseman to replace Pietrangelo. And then with all that money and all that capital moving forward, they'll be able to sign they'll be hopefully able to sign Eichel for 8 years.
Are they looking to move on from Alex Pietrangelo? Is that something they're looking to do?
No, I think what's happening is he's got a serious injury, and they don't know for sure. He doesn't know for sure if he just lets it heal, he could be available for next year, or if he has surgery. The chances are if he has surgery, he's out for maybe 2 seasons. So they're going to play it and wait it out. However, it also works very well for them because now they have $8 million on LTIR, which sets up for more available money right now. And again, I think it's a mutual decision that the player is very hurt, but also I don't think right now surgery is the option. So they're going to wait and see what happens, but it's going to be at least a full season.
Okay, so that's $8.8 million of cap space that they can work with in and of itself right there with Alex Pietrangelo if he goes on long-term IR. Final question, Justin Pothier of SinBin.Vegas joining us here on the Adam Gold Show, talking about how the Carolina Hurricanes could potentially factor in with Vegas and if Mitch Marner goes to the Vegas Golden Knights. William Karlsson to be the player that I would want over Tomas Hertl. Would Vegas be more interested in future assets, or would they want a player that could play right now or some combination thereof?
I think originally they would want to, so if they can clear money by taking by sending the contract away, by receiving prospects, that would be key for them because they don't have any. There's no cupboard for the Golden Knights. So anything that they could get in return in prospect sense, they would. However, if Carolina was able to send a player, a middle 6 player, that was affordable, then the Golden Knights would also look at that as well because then it adds that they don't have to go search that player. So realistically, prospects, but if it can't work out and there's mid-level players that don't cost as much, then that's what Vegas would be seeking as well.
Well, they got to fill out their roster, does Vegas, and Carolina has a plethora of prospects that they could possibly send that way. Justin, thanks for your time. Where can people, if they want to learn more about what Vegas is doing, how can it impact Carolina, where can they check out your work?
Go to SinBin.Vegas and at SinBin.Vegas on Twitter, and everything's there for you.
Justin, thanks so much for your time. Really do appreciate your insight.
Absolutely. Talk soon.
All right, that's Justin Pothier, SinBin.Vegas. Again, SinBin.Vegas. Check it out, all the information there. I'm fascinated, Victoria, going forward. Again, free agency starts July 1st. That's Tuesday next week. We're less than a week away.
We're on it.
And we've seen trades already happening today. We saw Evander Kane get traded away from the Edmonton Oilers to the Vancouver Canucks. That was basically a salary cap dump is what it was because Vancouver's taken on the entire $5.1 million of Evander Kane's salary. They only had to give up a 4th-round pick to do so. So really it was just a salary cap shed because Edmonton's trying to re-sign one of their top young defensemen in Evan Bouchard, who's going to be a restricted free agent. Well, you got to have the money to do it if you're going to try and do an 8-year contract now. I think if Carolina is going to make a move with Vegas, if Mitch Marner's going to be going to the Golden Knights, okay, fine. If it only costs you a couple of prospects and maybe a pick to get William Karlsson that can fill your number 2 center need, and he's under contract for 2 more years at 5.9, and he's great defensively, and he has some 30-plus goal seasons under his belt, that's a move I make. And he's not a small guy. He's like 6 foot, 195, 200, so he's not a small guy. Not the biggest in the world either, but I'd make that move in a heartbeat. But again, everyone's knocking on the door for William Karlsson, understanding the position that the Vegas Golden Knights are in. It's fascinating. This offseason is fascinating for Carolina. They have the potential to make so many moves, and they really have set themselves up for success, not only this upcoming year, but sustained success, even continued sustained success.
Where we're at right now, having the cap space and having Eric Tulsky behind the scenes with his brain, it's so great. I'm excited. It's
cap space. Your core players are already under contract, and you're already a good team.
Right.
And you don't have a lot of holes to fill. It gives you so much flexibility. So it's cap space, it's draft capital, it's prospects, and your core guys are young and signed. They literally have it all.
Mm-hmm.
Some teams may, we have a bunch of cap space and prospects and picks, but we don't have that core group of guys that can win right now. Some teams, like in Vegas' situation, you're built to win right now, but you have no futures. So it's a give or take either way. Carolina really has kind of it all in a sense.
I hope so.
But they still got to elevate, though.
Yeah.
They still got to elevate. I'm excited. Is it July 1st yet?
I'm ready.
Well,
Feels like it.
I know. Well, we have the NHL draft on Friday and Saturday. Tonight and tomorrow, we have the NBA draft, and there's a player right from the state of North Carolina by the name of Drake Powell. Not only from the state of North Carolina, also went to the University of North Carolina. We discuss what his future is going to be like with his former high school head coach, Matt Brown, next.
Talking sports, so you don't have to pretend to know stuff. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
It's the first day of the first grade, and she found a new best friend. It's a laid-back Sunday afternoon, you wish would never end.
The homemade taste of Bluebell and good friends gathered round. The good old days are being made right now.
You'll be one smart cookie when you try Bluebell Cookie Cake Ice Cream. A sweet cream ice cream loaded with chocolate chip cookie cake pieces and swirls of chocolate and vanilla icing. This cookie cake ice cream really takes the cake.
The good old days are being made right now.
The good old days are being made right now.
Look for Bluebell ice cream at your local grocer and pick up your favorite flavor today.
The North Carolina Healthcare Association invites you to listen to this month's podcast, Conversations on the State of Healthcare. This month, we're talking about a major collaboration that's making waves in Iredell County. Kim Holland, Development Coordinator for the Iredell Health Foundation, tells us about Whole 3.
The goal of the collaborative is about addressing the complex and interwoven challenges that many families in Iredell County face. And, things like poverty, lack of access to health care, and educational disparities. So it's designed as truly a collaborative. It's community-led initiative. We're bringing together schools, nonprofits, health systems, and families to build a system that actually works for families, not just around them.
Learn more and join our latest Conversations on the State of Healthcare wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. And learn more by visiting nchealthcare.org.
My name is Stacy. I'm the proud mother of 2 daughters who were born prematurely. Our daughter Emma weighed less than 2 pounds when she was born, and today she's 100% prescription formula fed. It costs over $125 a day. Private insurance does not cover her formula, but Medicaid does. And I couldn't imagine the choices we'd have to make without it. My name is Stacy, and I'm speaking up to protect NC Medicaid.
Learn more at ncchild.org/speakup. That's ncchild.org/speakup.
Healthcare? Why?
Why is it so hard?
Healthcare is broken.
At Blue Cross and Blue Shield of North Carolina, we get it.
Really?
Really. That's why we're making healthcare better for all, starting with you.
Really?
Really. We're making plans easier to navigate by putting all your benefits, prescriptions, and details on your computer and phone. Convinced?
No, but it's a start.
We'll take it. Blue Cross North Carolina, making healthcare better for all, starting with you.
As public power customers, we experience fewer outages and faster restoration than customers of other electric providers. But the benefits of having a locally owned electric system go far beyond unbeaten reliability. Our local public power employees support our community, providing electric hookups for events, installing and maintaining ballpark lights, holiday lights, traffic lights, street lights, and more. Local people working together to meet local needs. That's the value of public power. Learn more at electricities.com.
As a school nurse, I feel like we're really that contact for the schools between the Department of Public Health and what goes on in the school system.
The face of the Department of Public Health in our school is our nurse, Nurse Emma. All the communication that she was receiving and direction she was receiving, she made sure to communicate with us and be a wonderful partner with us.
These kids need their routines.
NC Public Health. Everywhere. Every day. Everyone.
Gold. Gold.
I'm really excited about next season, considering this was supposed to be a rebuild year. But with these new guys, like Bradley Nadeau, we've got Nikishin coming eventually. If we've got Hall still here, Jackson Blake, I mean, there's so much promise and potential. I'm super excited for that.
Yeah, and just wait till the big kid gets ready to play.
The Adam Gold Show.
Matt Brown, Northwood High School basketball coach located out there in Pittsboro. Roughly one calendar year ago, Northwood High School in Pittsboro, a young man by the name of Drake Powell walked across the stage to receive his high school diploma, and that same young man, Drake Powell, might hear his name called tonight. If it's not tonight, it's tomorrow, to walk across the stage at the NBA draft once he hears his name called. And again, joining us to talk about Drake Powell is his high school coach, Matt Brown. Coach, first of all, thanks so much for giving us your time and joining us. I got to lead off this asking you this. What was the moment for you coaching Drake or just watching him play? Did it hit you that, yeah, this guy's going to be an NBA draft pick?
Thanks for having me. I think, it had to have been his freshman year. Just the way he kind of led the team as a freshman and kind of the way he took responsibility of, really helping us get to that state runner-up game. You knew he was something special.
So you mentioned that, something special. We always hear from coaches, again, Matt Brown from Northwood High School, Drake Powell's high school coach joining us. We always hear from coaches about the aspects of the game that don't necessarily show up on the stat sheet, whether it's communication on switches, screens, jumping in passing lanes, to deter passes, or even just how you interact with your teammates to build them up. What is it about Drake as a person, especially since you've seen him grow? What is it about him as a person that has helped him get this far?
Yeah, I think that, the biggest thing is just his unselfishness, and the way he carries himself, the way he acts around other people. He would be the guy that, if he's out of the game, he'd be the first one to go to the water cooler and fill the water up and give it to the guys who were in the game. Or he would be the athlete or, the player who, after the games on a Friday night, would go up in the stands and start cleaning the bleachers so the custodians wouldn't have to do it the next week. Those little intangible things, like, not a lot of kids have. And because of that, I think really has helped him along this journey, just because he's a high character guy. But also he does all the dirty work. The way he plays defense. If you looked at the NBA Finals this year, you had two teams who were long, athletic, but also, relied a lot on their defense. OKC, was all about their defense. And, I mean, the NBA is kind of turning that way, and the 3-and-D guys. And, I mean, that kind of fits the bill perfectly for Drake.
6'6" with a 7-foot wingspan. I mean, that's prototypical NBA size. With I think his vertical was like 37.5 inches. But Coach, for what you saw from watching him play, what part of his game, and you might have answered it already, what part of his game do you think will translate to the NBA right away?
I mean, I think just the defense, the instincts that he has on defense, like you said, the length that he has, the athleticism that he has, will translate perfectly and fluently into the NBA. The way he impacts the game without having the basketball or without scoring is huge. You have a lot of role guys, not really role guys, but not everybody's going to be that superstar in the NBA. But teams, really good teams, need those guys who do all the little other things that impact the game. And he does all those little things that impact the game on various levels. So, and he's so coachable too. I mean, if a coach wants him to, guard their best player, he's going to do it to the best of his ability. If they need him to grab 8 rebounds, he's going to do it. So that's his willingness to do whatever it takes, but also his willingness, him being a winner. He won all throughout high school, and that's what he does. That's what he wants to do, is just win the ball game, and that's what I think sets him apart from everybody else.
Matt Brown, Northwood High School basketball coach of Drake Powell, joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. Dennis Cox sitting in for Adam Gold this afternoon. You talk about that mentality and that work ethic, everything you just mentioned. Where does that come from him?
I mean, I think it comes from his parents. I mean, his family. Drake is surrounded with really good people. Miss Sharice and Mr. Diedrich did a great job of raising him, but also, his older brother and older sister, I think, really pushed him when he was younger, pushed him around. And, I got to coach his older brother, Deuce, and he, his work ethic was a lot about the same as Drake's. And, Drake kind of saw what it took to get really good, and he just took it to another level. And, with Drake, I think it's his dream that he wants. This is his dream. Like, he wants to be in the NBA. He's always wanted to be in the NBA. And, he took a hold of it, and he worked his tail off, and he deserved every minute of it.
From the time that you coached him to where you see him now going into the draft, where do you think he's grown the most as a player?
I think his confidence has grown a lot. Just looking at, watching his workouts, his interviews from this summer, the way he's carrying himself, you can tell he's a lot more confident in his abilities. But also, his offense has come a long way. A lot of people knock on his offense, but to be honest, he was a 43% shooter, 3-point shooter in high school, and that's pretty darn good for a high school kid.
Yeah.
So he didn't always have to rely on his mid range, but he was able to get to his spots. So I think his offensive skills have come a long way as well.
Has Drake told you where he's getting drafted yet? Any team? Did he tell you?
No. It's crazy. These last couple of days, it's just been a lot of trades have been happening, and the picks are switching around like crazy. So I'm excited for him. I'm excited for his family. They totally deserve it. I'm excited for the town of Pittsburgh to have someone like Drake represent them, and Northwood, and I'm just blessed to have been able to coach him for 4 years.
Matt Brown, head coach at Northwood High School in Pittsburgh, joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. Coach, you mentioned how in Drake Powell's freshman year at Northwood, you guys made a push towards the state title, or at least far in the playoffs. You had another player by the name of Jaron Stevenson on that same team, who's actually going to be coming back to the state of North Carolina and going to UNC. Real quick, what can Tar Heel fans expect to see from Jaron Stevenson this year?
Oh man, it's great. It's awesome. I think they're going to see a very versatile big who can run the floor, who can block a lot of shots, who can protect the rim, but also who can stretch teams out. And he's going to be hard to guard. He's able to handle the ball. He's a really good three-point shooter. So it's a mismatch problem for a lot of teams. They're lucky. Carolina's really lucky to have him.
Should be a fun season, and should be for Tar Heel fans, but also should be a fun day here for fans of Drake Powell, including you yourself. Last question for you, Matt Brown. Where do you want to see Drake Powell go? In an ideal situation, if you could handpick a team, not only where he could play and flourish, give me an ideal situation for him. In your eyes.
In my eyes, I think an ideal position for him is a team that has the identity kind of like his values. So like a family-type atmosphere, a team that relies on defense, but also really relies on like player development. There's great organizations like the Nets, the Bulls, the Pacers, OKC, all have great organizations of developing players, but also like their values are huge. So like teams like that, I think he'd be a great fit. I'd love to see him at somewhere like that. And I'm a Pacer fan, so I'd love to see him go to the Pacers.
Oh, that's fair.
I'm just where he ends up. I think he's going to do great. I think he's going to flourish where he ends up. And I think, we're just excited and anxious all at the same time to see where he lands.
Are you talking about defense, work ethic, developing players? I thought you were describing the Carolina Hurricanes for a second there, Coach. Coach Matt Brown, Northwood High School, thanks so much for your time. Enjoy watching Drake get drafted tonight or tomorrow, and I'm happy for you as well. It's an awesome experience for you to experience that, having coached him as well. Thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Again, that's Matt Brown, Northwood High School coach, giving us a little insight on Drake Powell. I'm excited to see about tonight in the draft. And where Drake Powell ends up. I think for him, if he's going to be picked in the 20s, going to a team that was in the playoffs this past year, obviously I know there's first-round picks that get swapped and traded and all that kind of stuff, all the time in the NBA. Like, for example, the Brooklyn Nets have 4 first-round picks this year. But if he can get to an organization that is already a playoff contender and he can contribute as a great defensive player and a three-point shooter right away, I think it'd be awesome for Drake Powell. I'm excited to see what his NBA future is going to be like. He's got a prototypical NBA size 6'6", but it's a 7-foot wingspan. He can jump through the roof.
I know, and
I'm excited.
I love hearing that he's like just a good person too.
Yeah.
It's so easy. Like you want to root for the good ones. So that's cool to hear his coach say that.
And you could see it, and you've heard it from multiple places. You could see it. I'm excited for the young man, a guy from right here in the state of North Carolina. Excited to see that for sure. Speaking of the draft, Victoria, we have some things to hit on regarding the draft as we hit the rewind. Including number 1 overall pick tonight will be Cooper Flagg. I'm going to make that declaration right now, Victoria. Also, it's hot outside.
Mm-hmm.
Things that are obvious.
Mm-hmm.
I talked to Brenden Whitted, who was the big basketball brain here on the Adam Gold Show. I asked Brenden Whitted, what is Cooper Flagg's ideal role with the Dallas Mavericks, not only this year, but long term?
I got made fun of a lot for when I made this comp earlier.
Okay.
It reminds me a lot of Ben Simmons, like the early Ben Simmons, before Ben Simmons had that kind of like just mental short circuit. Remember, Ben Simmons
before
was
passing up on layups, Ben Simmons.
Yes, right. Before that guy,
Okay.
but remember, he was an all-star. He's all defensive team. He's a rookie. He was a really good early player. I think he made like 3 all-star games until, kind of whatever happened with him. But I think that can be what Cooper Flagg is. You mentioned point forward. That was what Ben Simmons did a lot of for the Philadelphia 76ers. And I think that he will be an important cog in terms of the ball movement. They don't have a ton of passers. I mentioned some of the redundant skill sets in that front court.
Mm-hmm.
Without Kyrie, they really don't have a ton of passing. You mentioned Clay. That's not really his forte. Max Christie's still pretty young, and he's really not a facilitator like that. Flagg might walk in first day and be one of their better facilitators. I think that would be a really, really important part of his early career, as long as they don't put too much on him. He shouldn't be your primary guy. I wouldn't want him bringing up the ball a ton and having to run sets. Not that he can't, but I wouldn't want to put too much on him too early. But he is going to be a vital cog, kind of the way that maybe Jokic is or Sabonis is for Sacramento, where you're having him at the elbow and things just kind of work around him, kind of in a heliocentric sort of a vibe, because he can make those passes, he can make those decisions. And if you have guys that are good enough off ball to cut and move and shooters, you can be a problem offensively for any team.
I think Cooper Flagg, his unselfishness and his versatility is obviously going to carry over, but his defense is something that's going to help out right away in the NBA. Speaking of players that are going to be drafted out of Duke, tonight, don't be surprised if Con Knipple gets drafted number 4 overall to the Charlotte Hornets. And Brenden Whitted and I discussed, while it's not a sexy pick, this will help raise the floor.
I think it's stability, right? That's what you want. You want somebody that you feel confident is going to be able to play 70 games throughout the season. Hopefully Brandon Miller comes back. The Brandon Miller, there hasn't been a ton of transparency with where he is in his recovery of his wrist injury.
Yeah.
The Hornets have gotten into some of this stuff previously where they are just very, very tight with the information given. But from the X interviews that he gave, he still wasn't doing 5-on-5 on-court stuff. Remember, he was an all rookie. He was on an all rookie team. His rookie year, like he's a good player, but as so happens so often with Hornets players, haven't seen enough of him.
Mm-hmm.
As it pertains to Mark Williams, trying to trade him and then being unsuccessful in doing so, and then him coming back is kind of awkward.
It is a little awkward.
And there was a couple games there where it seemed like he was healthy enough to play, but there seemed to be a little bit of friction from maybe some tea leaves that were kind of out there. I'm just hoping that whatever issues previously that they've had, that they're able to work through those, because that would be giving up on a number 15 pick really early in his career, who has shown flashes and shown prominence, even if there are some injury concerns, particularly with his back.
I think Con Knipple, 4th overall of the Hornets. Again, it's not sexy. It's not. But I think he's as solid of a player as you're going to get in the NBA. Obviously, he's not Cooper Flagg. He's not going to be Dylan Harper. But you just want to talk about, when you look back on the draft, like, hey, you know what? That guy's just a solid player. Like, he's just a really good player.
Mr. Reliable.
Yeah, like someone you rely on. Maybe not the highest ceiling, but the floor is going to be much higher than a lot of prospects. And I think that's a thing that Charlotte needs to do, is raise its floor. You can't raise your ceiling if your floor still bottoms out of the NBA. Like, you got to raise the floor. I think Con Knipple can help raise the floor a little bit. And he's so versatile that he can work with anybody. He can work with anybody in any situation. You want me to play off ball? Cool, I got you. You need me to actually take over and initiate? Sure. You want me to be the secondary option on this play? I got you. Whatever that you need him to do, he can fit in so many different places. His basketball IQ and his versatility are great. I like the idea of Knipple at 4. I really do, for the Charlotte Hornets. I just want the Hornets to be good. Can we get to that point again, please? I want the Hornets. Maybe they got to go truly throw back the old school jersey.
Yeah.
They need to go back to the true purple and teal.
Sometimes that helps at Whalers night.
Yeah.
Sometimes helps the Canes. So I don't know. I just would love to have one of our pro teams in Charlotte I have my Panthers, but
well, hey, you know what? Hey, there's some upside there. There's some upside there.
One.
But yeah, I want maybe they got to go back to the old school logo, maybe whatever it is they got to do. But I want the Hornets to be good.
Mm-hmm.
I really do want the Hornets to be good. All right, final thing here. Speaking of basketball, we had Chip Patterson of CBS Sports join the show earlier today. The NCAA is looking to potentially expand the NCAA tournament, even for this upcoming season, from 68 teams to 76. My biggest fear is that it waters down the product. And I think the NCAA, and Chip Patterson and I talked about this, that the NCAA might be pushing itself too far.
I saw in the college football playoff, a lot of people liked having more playoff games. They weren't great, and so they fixed the seeding, but a lot of people were super excited. I had my issues with it. I'm more of a regular season purist myself, but
likewise,
that's never been really the interest in college basketball. ACC conference basketball tournament championships are sometimes celebrated beyond even the regular season title. Like, you win the regular season title in ACC basketball, it's like, oh yeah, that's a nice banner. That's a nice trophy. You know, you do cut down nets, but what feels like the real championship? The NC State men's basketball program, you know, we were ACC champions. Well, not in the regular season. You were playing on Tuesday in the ACC tournament.
You were.
You know, but you won the conference tournament, and so you were the champions. It is that tournament play that is part of, basketball at its highest level. So I think that for the NCAA tournament and sort of where it sits in the national consciousness, if you were to expand it by another weekend, I think that's a little bit too much. I think that in growing, it just leads, it is too much in line with everything else we've seen in college sports, which is anything that will be able to, all right, are you a connoisseur of olive oil?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so about first press, second press, third press, the ways that you get from virgin to extra virgin, all the different levels to it. Like, we are beyond our third press of the olive in college sports. And so I think that it falls in line with what I've seen across the industry, the expansion, because it just means more across the board in every single Excel spreadsheet.
My fear, and Chip and I talked about this as well, is that if you expand too much, then you're expanding the length of the tournament, of the NCAA tournament. And I hope they don't add another weekend. He said with the expansion of the tournament, you're basically adding to those games that are played in Dayton, like on that Tuesday and Wednesday. Which, okay, fine. I'll take that. I'll be fine with that. I don't want to add a whole other weekend. I don't, because again, you start to water down the product. This is my biggest fear when it comes to just college or just sports in general, is that you start taking something great and you start to try and manipulate it into a way where you don't even recognize it anymore. It's hard to go back. Once you expand, you're not going to contract the NCAA tournament. You're just not, because there's just be too much money involved. Now, it's obviously on the NCAA to work with the television partners, CBS and Turner and everyone to, hey, we're going to add more games. Okay, that's more money that you could potentially make, which then means more payouts for schools and all those kinds of things.
Well,
but
if you can make more money, they're not going to go back to making less money.
Oh, you mean the NCAA?
Yes.
Oh, no. They're totally set with where they are. Come on. We all know this. Anyway, let's be honest. The NCAA tournament is one of the most fun things in sports. I hope they don't ruin it by trying to do too much. It's NBA draft night, folks. Let's go. Cooper Flagg's going to go number 1 overall.
Yeah.
We all know this. Duh. I really am curious to see what the Hornets do tonight. I wonder, Victoria, final thought as we close out.
Yeah.
If Con Knippel's sitting there at number 4, if there's a team that wants to move up to draft like an Ace Bailey or something like that, does Charlotte move down like to number 6 or something like that and still get Con Knippel? Hey, I'm for that. Still get your guy and add some assets. I'm for that. Make sure you lock in tomorrow noon on the Adam Gold Show. Victoria, thank you. Till next time, I bid you adieu.
Talking sports, dropping truth. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Give me a mountain with lots to do. Give me something simple and true. All I need is sunshine and a cool, refreshing Mountain Dew. Yes, give me my good friends. Give me a dew.
Grab some ice-cold Mountain Dew today.
Mountain Dew.
Join us at Cocoa Booth Amphitheater this 4th of July. Enjoy patriotic music, kids' activities, and fireworks, all with free general admission.
Will you make the right call? Time's running out, pressure's on, and you need your roof replaced. Hi, I'm Holly from RoofWorks. It's 4th and goal, and the decision's in your hands. The competition can't stop you. You're about to score the game winner. We've trained for years for this moment to raise the roof for you. So avoid the noise and put us in the game. Call RoofWorks today or visit us online at roofworks.com.